toes.
Talk like you're normally going to talk.
Talking
like you're
I'm
normally
talking
going to talk.
on the phone. Hi, Mom.
Talking
what you
like you're normally
doing?
going
Politics
to talk.
again.
Politics again. Oh, you're a disappointment in your life. I dropped her off at the airport.
I know. She told me 6 times.
She's... she also tell you it sounds like I have a tremolo effect.
This sounds like it should be a lot funnier than
Listen
it is.
to me.
Okay.
When you yell into the mic, do you hear
I'm
it
not yelling.
spiking in your ear? When you
yelling.
hear it uncomfortable in your head space,
But it's not uncomfortable.
in your ear holes, that means it's bad.
You know that kinship you feel when someone gets the obscure movie quote you tossed out in a conversation?
When Mrs. Kissel farts, we beat the dog.
Welcome to Such a Good One! A podcast where two siblings bond over their unabashed love for the movies they grew up on. I'm Josh Cook.
And I'm Jessi Cook.
Come digress with us.
I don't know how old I was. I don't remember.
This is the bowling ball.
Yes, and I was like, I don't know, 5, probably 6-ish, 6, 7, somewhere in there. I went bowling. All I remember, and I don't remember anything of this day, I have very vague images, but I went bowling with him at the Winwood Lanes. I'm pretty sure it was Winwood Lanes.
It wasn't Rock and Bowl.
I'm making
though,
that
right?
up.
Why wouldn't it have been Winwood Lanes? That's where we went. It wouldn't.
I don't
have,
think they had Rock and Bowl back then.
I don't think you went to Rock and Bowl. I'm just saying we didn't go to Sproul.
Wait,
You
is
went
Rock and Bowl a place? I thought Rock and
no,
Bowl was
Rock
just
and
like...
Bowl was like Friday or Saturday
yeah,
night.
they
there.
didn't have that back then. This is
You
talking
missed-
about the 80s.
I know. I'm not saying that.
Beep, 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 beep.
Boop, 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 boop,
Anyway,
boop.
so I went with him bowling, and I remember he was going to teach me. That's what I remember. I very specifically remember him saying, "Okay, I'm going to go and roll this ball. Just watch what I do." And to me, at that age, I thought, oh, that means follow him. And so I followed him without him knowing, and he started to move forward, so I did too, and then he swung his arm back with the bowling ball and hit me right in the mouth with the bowling ball, which I'm sure I flew backwards with blood everywhere. I'm certain of it. And then I can't imagine what everyone. I'm sure there was someone watching this whole thing happen who was going, "Oh no, oh no!"
Kind of like the car accident I recently.
Yes, I'm sure that was going on. And so so then they had to take me to the dentist. They took me to the dentist. It was like on a Saturday.
Was it just you guys?
It was just the two of us, I think, because he had to call mom and tell, and all this stuff. Oh. So anyway, the whole point of this is I would tell this story jokingly because I don't remember a thing about it at all. I just, I don't remember the pain. I don't remember anything at all. My teeth are fine. Like I don't remember anything about this.
You know why your teeth are fine, right? Because they got knocked out and put back in.
Apparently so. And so
braces.
And yeah, so my teeth were all messed up. But whatever. The point is, I told the story like jokingly for years, and it'd be around. And then one time, I was telling it. I guess it was the first time I ever like really looked at him during, and I could see he was like. I was like, oh, it occurred to me. He was like, he's not happy about this. And he seemed like really like hurt almost. And then I don't remember if I said something to him or whatever, but I don't think so. I think it just occurred to me, oh, like this is a story that like he feels really, really horribly about still. And I never understood it until my daughter, we were running somewhere one time, too long of a story to get into, but basically we were running sometime and there was a dog that was about to kind of like jump at her. That he was on a leash and the person walking, it was a big like German Shepherd dog, and the person walking the dog was not paying attention, and the dog was like looking at her as she was running. She was, I don't know, 4 or 5, and I could see the dog starting to move towards her, like very alert, and I was like, oh, and so I sped up to kind of get in between them, but right as I got to her, she wasn't paying attention, and she moved right in front of me, and so she tripped, and then I tripped, and we both fell, and she fell right on her teeth, like on the pavement. And I'll never forget, she hit the pavement and then like, it was almost like it was like a bum bum. That quickly she hit and then her face was up and she was like, ah! Like, I will never, I was trying to.
Is that where she bruised a tooth or something?
Yeah, she had a bruised tooth. So one of her teeth was gray until it fell out. Like, I will forever feel terrible about that. even though I was just trying to protect her, like I was trying to
yeah.
prevent possibly something from happening, and I was the one that hurt her. So then I fully was like, oh, this is what he felt when I would tell that story. He feels this like it's that insane guilt. If anyone with a kid will know, if you've ever accidentally hurt the kid, like you're just like you feel.
Yeah,
horrible.
I wouldn't. If you think about it, I wouldn't imagine Dad. Like, remember that time I hit you in the face with a bowling ball? It was
I know,
awesome.
but as a kid,
No, I know.
you don't think about it because
Well,
it's
it also
so
probably
nuts.
you think it makes them feel better.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, one other thing.
He never hit me with a bowling ball in the face. Just letting.
Oh, are you trying to?
Well, actually, neither of our parents
Are you trying to say something?
struck out at me in any way.
Oh,
Yeah.
so, well,
Yeah. Back to the bowling ball in your face.
no, back to you hitting a Porsche.
Oh, Jesus. It's going to be a very... It's funny.
My sister had... the reason actually I did want to say this is because she had an art show. I think I've mentioned before. She has this incredibly intricate paper cutting art. It's kind of nuts. Like, I was looking at some of it the other day at the show, and it was just like... I mean, I really do think Mom is right. I think people don't understand that you do it by hand because it looks like it's laser cut.
Well, I said on the little tags, I was like,
insane.
can we put cut by hand on every tag? Because people still ask me
I really
if it's
do
pen and
think
ink.
because it really doesn't look like you have cut it, but it's nuts. How
I can see every error in it, so it's hard for me to say, but
I was looking anyway. The point is, she had this show
running very late to the show.
Yeah, she had this show, and this. I'm not going to get into what happened, but basically, you were backing into a space.
I've never been in an accident.
She's going to get into it. I wasn't going to get into it, but she's going to get into it.
I've never been in
go
an
ahead.
It's annoying.
Let's
I've never
Lenny
been in an
Bruce the hell
accident,
out
but
of
I've
this.
been hit twice. So I was backing into a space, and the guy that passed by me going down the hill decided he wanted that space too. So he made a U-turn, came in behind me, and I didn't see him. So anyway, I hit him.
Listen, I'm going to try to explain the same thing, Mom. I try to explain to Mom. It doesn't make any sense the way that you two explain this. Like I had to have her to this morning.
She went there and drew a diagram.
She had to draw the diagram for me on the diner table for me to understand what the hell she was talking about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You were backing into a space, and then someone else tried to get into the space while you were backing into it.
Yes, so it's my fault. I hit him.
I don't think so, because you were backing into a space that you were in first, and
he
then
made a
he
U-turn.
pulled in.
I know, but
to try to beat you.
But they found he didn't know I was doing it. But they're finding me at fault, and they said, "Oh, you have to file too."
Who's finding you at fault?
His insurance company, and I was like, "Okay."
Well, of course, his insurance company's
But
finding
then
you
they
at
said,
fault.
"Well, you better file too, because we don't want to have to do battle with you." I was like, wait, what? So anyway, long story short, it's not very exciting. This is not about me.
Isn't it, though?
It's not.
Do you know what this is about? It's a movie film.
It's a video.
And I'm going to say this, and I want to say this too. When I brought up that we were going to discuss this, you were kind of like, and I was like, what?
Because I don't
are
remember.
you talking about?
Okay.
This is such a freaking great movie.
Well, this is good because I have a question for you right off the
Came out
bat.
1985, Return to Oz, which is such a great movie.
But I guess I don't remember watching it with you. Like that was one of my favorite movies, but I don't remember that being one of our movies that we watched together for some reason.
Well, we can't have this only be our
No, I don't mean that. I just
doesn't
mean
make
like
sense.
for some reason I didn't even think you saw it.
I love this movie. I love it so much. How are you already complaining about your leg?
Because it's
I told you don't have to sit. You know what?
Shut up.
I can pull.
Anyway.
I could put something here, and you could put your legs up like you're on a cruise ship.
Dad and I were talking about how nice it must be to have bowling ball straight teeth for you. But also, I got his Charlie horses in the middle of the night issue and his horrible spine.
You just said Dad and I were talking about this?
Yeah, Dad and I was saying, like, we were talking about our backs, and I was like, I got your decrepit, crumbling spinal column.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, Josh is tall and skinny like Mom.
Yeah.
And that's...
What are you talking about? Like, Mom...
I'm saying, like, you guys got the...
Dad was tall and skinny, too, before he, like,
and
had all
I
this
got,
issues
I'm
with-
like Gia. I'm, like, shorter and not rounder, but according to Dad, I'm rounder. Anyway, the point is...
Did
No, I don't even, because if we tell stories like this,
I know. He'll be so mad.
We'll just
he'll be
yeah.
so mad. But the thing is, they're so funny. They're so funny. Some of the things that he said, because they're just really like. Did you tell the thing? I mean, I can't say it now. about the
Noom?
the Noom. That was
I don't know.
That was the best one.
I'm on the Noom. I love the Noom. Noom, can you hear me? I'm on the Noom.
Yep.
I love it. I lost 10 pounds. I was so excited.
I think we might have told the story, but it's worth
I don't
repeating.
care. But I also feel, and I've been waiting for no one yet has, I know this sounds kind of crappy, but no one yet has said, why did you lose 10 pounds? They're all like, that's great. I'm like, what did I look like that you all think this is so great? The only person who was surprised was John. He was like, oh, it's dumb. I'm like, thank you, you masochist, whatever. Like, so I was sitting with Dad at Casey's, and he's always mentioned my weight. I don't know why. I think it's because he's like it was a Mr. Sporty Sport pants. I don't know. But it's always been like, so you go to the gym? You trying to go to the gym, keep fit? And I was in a relationship once with someone who was a big eater. And I said, why do you keep bringing up my weight? He goes, I'm afraid now that you're with this person, you're going to get heavy. I was like, heavy?
Yeah, heavy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said,
like a villain.
So since he loves to talk about my diet and exercise, I said, I'm on this app Noom, and I was maybe low-key trying to see if he wanted to get on it too. And I said, yeah, I lost 10 pounds. He goes, all right, keep going. Meanwhile, I mean, I'm 133 pounds. We're not talking about like
I love it.
Like dripping over this couch right now.
Dad, I've lost 10 pounds. Oh, good. Keep going.
Keep going. Try to spit out the cake when you eat it. Like what? Like, what do you mean?
Oh, I would say that I would cut this out, but honestly, I'm not going to.
No, because and you know what, Dad, you had fair warning because I will make these comments to your face.
Yeah, nothing we say or Jessi hasn't screamed at him before.
I try to be direct.
And that's why we love Return to Oz.
I didn't really think this was a popular... Not only did I not know it was a popular movie, I didn't know it came out in theaters. I thought it was a TV movie.
I did too.
But everyone that sees it, that does like it, is like, oh my God, yeah, but it's terrifying. Every conversation
It's
is
terrifying.
Great. I'm not saying it's not, but I have no memory of being scared of it when I was little.
No, I don't think
that at
I
all.
don't think I remember being scared of it, but I'll tell you what, watching it again.
When you look back, you're like, well, that's
No, watching it again, like there are things that were like super haunting from it, like the lead Wheeler's laugh is like, when I heard it again, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember that. Like it was so eerie.
Yeah, but that thing where he's like, I don't really understand that. Huh? They communicate in like squawks at one point.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. No, there's this laugh where he's like,
his name is
and he does this,
his name is Pons Mar.
I know, and he does this crazy
him.
laugh. It's nuts. that and also my favorite, Dorothy Gale.
I say that
terrifying.
all the time.
That whole we'll get
Dorothy. No, listen.
We'll
wait.
get there. We'll talk
when he's
about
like,
it.
The Gnome King doesn't allow chickens anywhere in the house. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, but like that was so bizarre. Okay, so not only did I think it was a TV movie, which I totally did.
Yes.
Alicia said that her parents took her to see it.
I couldn't believe
in the
it.
theater, which is. No, I guess that's right. She would have been 3 or 4 years old, and they took her, and they left like after a few minutes. They were like, nope, because they realized like this is not a kids movie, and
that's Mom almost didn't let me see Hocus Pocus. You had to go with me.
Oh, what did I?
You went with me to see Hocus Pocus. It's one of my best little sister memories.
Oh, I totally remember that too. Why don't you relive it for us both?
Any little siblings out there that felt that hit? Good. Great. But I don't remember being afraid. I remember it being cool. But everyone's like, that they let you watch that? And I'm like, yeah.
It's horrifying.
It is, but I don't remember that fear. I remember it being creepy.
So once again, we are talking about Return to Oz, which is the quote sequel, I guess, to
it's a follow-up because it's
it totally
it's
is.
truer to the original.
That's what I was saying. No, I didn't. Not only did I not know it was a TV movie, it was released in theaters. It apparently is it was a combination of books 2 and 3.
When you see the illustrations, you're like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, well that I knew
why.
that because you could tell from the costume designs, which are fantastic in this movie. That like Queen, I'm blanking on her name right now.
Princess Mombi.
Mombi.
Who also you probably called Queen for a moment because.
Well, I know Jean Marsh, Bavmorda. What?
Queen Bavmorda.
That lady had the market
Dude.
cornered on evil witch people.
For a minute, I was like, if she's also the villain in Battle for Endor, I'm going to write that lady a letter. She's amazing, but she's not.
Love Jean
that
Marsh.
lady's real scary though.
I don't remember that at all, but
I don't
I'm gonna
remember.
watch that.
Oh,
So I want to. So as we do, I want to read to you an original review of this, which is which I think this. I think this is a very interesting review.
is
like
it?
I
Is
do.
it interesting?
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Do you not like the reviews?
Does it mention Fever Dream? Because that comes up a lot. I asked some people that I had watched it what they thought, and they said it's like a fever dream.
I don't know.
Go.
Let me see. I'm just going to do a little snippet here because
Read
I'm
it.
not reading here to upset you either way because you don't think you care enough about the movie either
What?
way to
Whoa,
do it.
hold on. What do you mean I don't care enough about it? This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I
Return
just
to
did.
Oz,
Oh
which
my
opens
God.
today at Radio City Music Hall. Wait, hold on a second.
Wait,
This
hold
is
on. What do you mean?
New York Times, June 21st, 1985.
Fine, you need to quiz me. Quiz me on the movie. I bet I know way more than you do because it was my favorite movie growing up.
This was your favorite movie growing up?
Yes, I just didn't think you saw it. I didn't think you knew anything about Return to Oz. So I was like,
movies were Batman, Willow, and Teenage Mutant
well, I
Ninja
mean,
Turtles.
I'm saying my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was so good.
With Elias Koteas.
What?
I think that's how you pronounce his name. Elias Koteas.
Sure. Okay.
It's Casey Jones.
He did a Casey Jones right here off of this list.
Casey Jones, right here off this thing. Boom!
Boom.
Return to Oz, which opens today, Radio City Music Hall, is the work of ingenious technicians who seem either not to know what gave the original film its magic or not to care. Instead of the Wizard of Oz sequel that its title suggests, Return to Oz, directed and co-written by Walter Murch, is more of a grim variation. This time in a story derived largely from Frank L. Baum's Land of Oz and Ozma of Oz, which is, I realized I never read any of these books, but
Okay,
these books are nuts, I guess.
I gave them to you guys, though.
I know.
Do you have them?
I'm not reading the
But
Wizard
do you
of Oz
have
books.
them? I want to read it.
Probably somewhere. A pint-sized Dorothy has been brought to the screen with a different set of sidekicks. For instance, we don't need to read all this stuff.
Feruza.
But amazing. No, but yeah, Feruza Balk. This must have
she's
been
so
her
awesome.
first or one of her first things because she's like what?
First.
10?
10.
Dorothy is the okay.
She's adorable.
She's accompanied by. So this is, I'm guessing from the books too, Bellina the chicken,
Yes.
which makes me like Frank L. Baum. Like, what the hell was Frank L. Baum doing?
He crazy.
He is crazy.
It gets
You know what
even-
else I
it
remember?
gets-
You know, I remember there was a movie about a TV movie about him. It starred John Ritter as Frank L. Baum. Do you remember that?
I love John Ritter.
And I clearly remember only one thing. I remember we were so excited to watch it. I don't know why, but we were so excited to watch it. We watched
this
it.
one?
I want you to shut your face. Shut it. So we were so excited to watch this Frank L. Baum TV movie for whatever reason. John Ritter was in, and there's one part where like it's like cold out, and they start the camera starts in the backyard. It pans over, and you see like there's like a tree stump with an axe sticking in it. I was like, oh, that must be the Tin Man inspiration. And I was so like, oh, well, that's deep. And I thought that was awesome.
Was it a good movie?
No.
We're going to say, hold on. In reverence to John Ritter, we're going to say he was probably amazing. We don't know about the movie. You can't insult John Ritter.
I'm not insulting John
I
Ritter.
love John Ritter.
John Ritter's great.
I know. I just mean, what if it's good and you
And
don't
I've
know?
met his son a number of times, who's also delightful and super
and
talented.
his wife, who is
She is also super talented.
New
I got to work
New
with her in
Zealand?
Castle Rock.
Australia
She's
or
so
New
great.
Zealand?
I believe she's New Zealand.
New Zealand. Yeah, you guys worked together on Castle Rock, I guess.
We didn't have unfortunately work at all together, but we did
Okay.
have dinner once with some other people. It was fun.
Melanie.
Yes, Linsky.
She's good.
Super good.
She's in everything.
Super nice.
You've got a baby in a bar. Do you actually know what that's about?
Bellina the chicken. I don't remember. It sounds really familiar though. I don't know why. What is it?
Well, she's the one holding the baby, so it's weird. Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Melanie
I don't know why I would.
Lurlin.
You know what? That's probably, I must have seen it like in a commercial or something because I've never seen that movie, but I know that.
Okay.
So Bellini the Chicken apparently is part of the Frank L. Baum, which is nuts. Gump, which is also TikTok, which is hilarious and also crazy.
And go ahead. Sorry.
And what?
Jack Pumpkinhead, which has to be
getting there. The inspiration, you think, for
Jack Pumpkinhead and Jack Skellington?
You think Tim Burton
Come on.
saw that and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna."
I don't know, but I mean, it is Jack-o'-lantern and it is a pumpkin. But that I heard when I
You know who the voice of Jack Pumpkinhead is?
Yes, I do. It is Brian Henson.
That's right.
Boom. Oh, sorry. Did I best you at your own game? I did a book report on Jim Henson.
Okay. Anyway, blah 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 blah. The inventiveness that has gone into this and into turning Oz into a land of lavish special effects will be lost on anyone with a fondness for the 1939 musical classic. That film will always enchant adults and children alike. This joyless new return to Oz isn't likely to appeal to the former and may give many of the latter a good scare.
What joyless? Da, 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 da. When you see TikTok,
Children are sure to be startled by the new film's bleakness. See, the thing is,
I wasn't startled. I loved it.
The thing is, I kind of agree with a lot of this. I don't agree with this person's tone, but I agree with some of what they're saying. So he talks about where I'm going to read some of this because it kind of does the whole overview of the plot for us.
But I don't need to. I can overview it for us. Fine, go ahead.
Fine, we'll do it now. But it starts.
One
of the things, the thing I've always loved about this movie, and I guess I thought this was some like super creative writers and directors, but apparently it was Frank L. Baum. But I love the whole premise of this movie is that it's a few months after the end of Wizard of Oz, and Dorothy keeps insisting that she went to this other place, and so Aunt Em and
Uncle
Henry, they think that she's nuts. Cuckoo. And so they're like, well, we got to take her to get electroshock therapy to help her get rid of these weird images. And I'm like, what a brilliant and insane twist.
It's so cool.
But watching it now, like the major thing about this that I find so like sad is like, she's crazy. Like, like Dorothy's insane. Oh. And like, because you have to decide like, okay, am I gonna believe that Dorothy really did go to this land of Oz? Because if you don't believe that, like this movie is like, it's very sad because she's absolutely insane. It's kind of like a portrait of an insane person, and it's like really sad.
You went so dark with it for me.
It's really sad.
But I just watched it with the assumption of like all of that stuff was real and no one
I know. But the thing is, like everything about it is. And maybe this is like
but I don't know. You have to look with better eyes than that.
Oh my gosh.
To me, I never felt bleak. It just felt like this cool adventure where people didn't understand her, and she tried to escape, and she did, and she was like,
"Yeah, I know." But they lay in the first
You're
one.
Right. You're totally right.
At the end, when she's like, "You were there, and you were there." Oh, was I? I was like,
no, I know.
And
you're
then
right.
the second one, and this one, it's like they lay in so much stuff. It's like in the asylum, like there's the squeaky wheel, and it's the guy who's wheeling it is the wheeler,
the Wheelers.
And like Gene Marsh is there, and then the rock guy is there, and like they're all.
And his voice is
guy's amazing.
And he's like, and he shows her the electric shock therapy machine. He's like, it has a face,
and it's TikTok
eyes, and it's obviously TikTok.
Yeah, it's like it's so the movie so clearly points to her creating this in her imagination, and it's like. I don't really think of that as a kid, but like watching it now, you're like, oh my gosh.
Oh no, you're 100% right.
Sick. And
it is literally
so sad.
A fever dream. It is. It is. And it's kind of nice that I didn't see that as a kid.
No. Well, you would say a fever dream, except that it's not, because like she believes it, like to the point where they're taking her to get therapy. It's nuts. Like that's why it's so dark, and but it's so brilliant. I love that. Anyway, they're bringing. Also, Piper Laurie is Aunt Em, who was from Twin Peaks fame. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway, electroshock therapy to cure insomnia and supposed hallucinations brought on by the trip, the adventure. Just in the nick of time, torrential storm carries the girl and her chicken away.
Quick!
Once in Oz, they discover that the yellow brick road is. Oh yeah, well we'll get there. Once they get there, they discover the. I'm not going to go through all this right now.
I can do it quickly.
We'll do a vaguely scene by scene thing.
Type A from
Nicol Williamson is the Gnome King. That guy's fantastic. Another famous British actor.
It's not spelled with a G. It's just spelled with an N. Gnome King.
Yes, you would think it was Gnome King, but it's not.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know what gnome. I don't know if that has a meaning.
I don't know.
Anyway, so what are they saying? So he basically runs through, or this person runs through whatever the heck is going on. There's a great deal to be said about contrasting quality of children's fantasies reflected in the 1939 film with its dauntlessly optimistic attention to the character's innermost frailties, and Return to Oz, a more outer-directed adventure that attempts a Star Wars spirit. This is true, I think, actually, in some ways.
But did you see what Fruza Balk said about that?
No.
They made a comparison to Star Wars or something, and she was like, Star Wars is about space.
Star Wars?
Didn't you just say Star Wars?
Well, what they're saying, I don't think they're...
Well, apparently that came up, and she was like, Star Wars is about space.
Yeah.
This is Oz.
No, I think what this person is saying is that, it was more about the inner, like, the inner psychology and in the inner life of someone, where this is more external adventure, like which I think is true. Like there are a lot more going on in this movie than was going on in the original. This Dorothy, who has nothing like the spunk and resourcefulness Judy Garland brought to the role, is none, which I think is true, but also much more in keeping with someone who's insane. I think Fruza Balk's wonderful in this. She never stops to marvel at the mysteries of this new place. Neither can you. That is also true. The effervescent helpfulness that united Dorothy
fearless.
And her friends in the earlier film has now become a mere sense of shared mission. Oz itself, formerly Neverland existing somewhere in Dorothy's and the audience's shared imagination, now resembles any old extraterrestrial setting. It couldn't be further away. That's basically. So what they're essentially saying is, I think is a lot true. Like it is much drearier and sadder and scarier in all these ways. It doesn't have the magic and like the wonder of the first one, and there's a hopefulness and a possibility, and the whole overall message is there's no place like home, And then this one is very much like the place that you've gone to is in ruin and has been ruined by this crazy king this rock king who wants to be human, and like is destroyed and imprisoned. It's very, very bleak.
It is, and she is very even keeled through all of it. Like she's definitely startled by things, but and I mean I don't know how many times she breaks down in Wizard of Oz, and she's like, ah!
Yeah.
And Fruza Balk will get emotional over like her friends being in danger, but she's very like, okay,
yeah.
Very controlled.
It's interesting. I agree with nearly everything this person says in the interview, but I don't agree with that there isn't merit. It seems like he's saying there's not, or this person who wrote this seems like they're saying there isn't merit to it, or it's not as good as the first and whatever. And it's by Janet. It's by Janet Maslin, very famous critic. I think it's a completely different thing.
Totally different.
But just because it's completely different doesn't mean that it's not worthwhile. And it feels like this review is sort of saying like, it's not really worthwhile. It's not worthy of being a sequel to the original. And I don't think they set out to do that. I think they were making this other movie. But it's really interesting.
But I'm sure, just like back then, they just kind of made another movie. I don't know that it was ever. I'm sure at the time it was advertised, but I don't think anyone went out of their way to be like, by the way, I know this sounds like a sequel, and it is a sequel, but. It was just you heard Return to Oz and everyone was like, great. And then they were like, why is she much, much younger than Dorothy? And why isn't she singing? And I, who does not enjoy singing, was thrilled and delighted that there was no singing.
No, that's what I mean. Like it is not full of wonder.
When the only music in there,
much more harsh.
The score is very cool and creepy. But then when Princess Mombi's playing that instrument.
So eerie. The first thing I wrote was that like I was so excited. Like I don't know if I can even tell you what some of the music is even now, but when it came on, I was like, like I just like it hit something in my brain. I was like, oh my gosh, this music! I love this. I always remember the ba 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 ba. It's so good.
It's so it's eerie and. Dun, 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 dun,
I also had this thing. We already talked about how it's not a made-for-TV movie, but for a moment I thought it was, and I was wondering, like, is this part of those? Remember how Disney used to do those weekly movies? And that was Flight of the Navigator, The
What?
Rescue. Yeah, that's where those are all from.
What? Flight of the Navigator wasn't like a legit.
Natty Gann.
I just watched that too.
I know. Journey Natty Gann, Flight of the Navigator, The Rescue. I loved The Rescue. That was the one. That was the one where it was like that was the most ridiculous premise, which is and I only know this because when I go and I shoot Law and Order SVU, all the Law and Orders shoot in, or not all of them, SVU at least, is based at Chelsea Piers in New York. And so you go up and like into one of their areas where they have, and there are all these movie posters on the wall, and I guess that's shot at Chelsea Piers because they have these studios there, and one of them is the Rescue.
Which is The Rescue?
And so I remember it pretty much from this poster that I see when I've gone and done this thing, and it's about how there's like a team of Navy SEALs or like very high, like just high level, like black ops type people who disappear behind enemy lines in North Korea. I think this is again early mid 80s. Oh. And so, of course, their kids
Is Patrick Swayze in this?
decide they're going to go rescue them in North Korea, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Yep.
It's such a ridiculous. No, Sean Astin's in it.
Ah, yeah.
And I don't know. I don't remember anybody else. But it was like, it is the most ridiculous premise of a movie. But I remember loving it and being like, yeah, kids are also black ops. Just like me when I play in the woods.
With your knife.
Yeah, I did have a big knife.
I really enjoyed the fact that I got in trouble for everything because I was
What are you talking about?
When you were a kid and mom was like, Josh is so much calmer. Just comes home and does his homework, cleans his room. He's just like really responsible. And I'm like, that MFer gets up in the middle of the night in the dark with his little knife and goes running through the woods like a fool, pretending he's like, I don't even know what. Black ops, teenager, Flight of the Navigator. I don't even know what you were doing out there. You thought you were a cool renegade, and I got in trouble for everything.
I brought the knife for safety.
Yeah.
In the woods at night in the 80s.
Did you need it for safety when you threw it at the closet door and put a hole in it? Like after,
I was in training. I did sneak out of the house at night and run. Well, there's 100 acres of woods behind our house. That was not ours.
Winnie the Pooh?
There is. It's 100 acres of 100
Are you
acre
serious?
woods behind the house.
Or are you?
I'm pretty sure.
Would you understand that Winnie the Pooh is my favorite? I just watched Pooh's Grand Adventure yesterday. So wait, you're telling me the 100 acre? That's so cool.
I think, unless I'm totally wrong.
Oh, let's just say
now it's Rolling Hill Park.
Well, if you said hundreds of acres, but you said 100 acre
now
wood.
It's Rolling Hill Park, and now people go and walk their.
That made me laugh though. So there's a park behind our house, and we used to feel like real cool because it was private.
Well, it wasn't a park. It was just
not a park. It was an estate, woods and an estate. So we could.
It was
walk.
left a conservancy. It wasn't an estate.
Oh, someone's a little bit particular.
I'm just trying to point out.
Put it this way. There was a big 100 acre wood, Peter Robin, behind our house. So oh my God. We still can walk up our hill.
Did you mean Christopher Robin?
What did I say? Peter Robin?
Oh, Winnie the Pooh's my favorite.
What did I call?
Peter Robin? You don't know character.
What was the Peter? Peter Rabbit Tail or something like that?
You're asking me to go inside that mind?
All right, moving on. Go back to the movie.
I like that in the opening shot. Through Dorothy's window, you're looking at space. I like it.
Oh.
It's very weird.
That's nice.
Anyway.
Do you know what else Pons Mar was in? It's one of our
I don't remember. Childhood
TV shows that we enjoyed.
Dinosaurs?
Yeah. Did you just guess that?
No, I looked it up, but I forgot already. But that would make sense. So anyway, I wrote here also. It's like so we start with Dorothy. We kind of gather that she's been having these it's continuing to assert
Alleged
that she has been to Oz. And her Aunt Em is they're nervous about her. They want to take her to some electroshock therapy thing they've read about. So they take her to this place, and there's this doctor there, and he's got this machine that Jessi was saying looks. It looks like kind of like an exposed clock.
He tries to calm her by saying, "Look, it has a face."
Mm-hmm, and it's clearly what TikTok later on as a character we meet who is sort of designed with that in mind.
The Royal
clearly.
Army of Oz.
But I was saying, I love how she just sounds so insane in that intake scene where she's like, "Oh no, well I was doing this," and then the cowardly lion was there.
Yeah, on the way back.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He's like, "And where are those slippers now, Dorothy?"
They fell off on the way back.
And you're just like, "Oh my gosh, she sounds so crazy."
See, I didn't think she sounded crazy. I thought she was awesome. But yes, as an adult, but even as an adult, it's so hard for me to watch it and see her that way. I get it.
No, as a kid, I didn't think so either. But like now, as an
badass.
adult, I'm like, "Oh, she seems so nuts."
So glad you have a daughter.
And so, and then she sees who we come to learn later is Ozma. Yes. That eerie blonde girl just appears.
You asked me in one of the other episodes, like, is there a part of the movie that stands out to you? There are many parts, like, of that movie. In this movie, many, many things stand out to me, but one of them is her going, "Quick! Dorothy, quick! 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 The patients that are damaged, locked in the cellar!"
That's, yeah. Yeah, so Dorothy, they leave her there. She goes to her room. Ozma,
just
this
appears.
Little blonde girl. We don't know who she is. She's just there all of a sudden. We don't have a name for her yet. We don't know.
No.
And they talk. What do they talk about? Do you know? I don't know. Did she say the word sandwich? I hope so.
That is one of the most wonderful parts of that whole. Why? What?
I don't know where you went. I was just
What
saying.
does she say? Sandwich? What does that mean?
I just like the word sandwich.
Well, it's just funny because in the scene when they arrive in Oz, they have a sandwich, which is one of my.
They don't have a sandwich.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
The lunch.
They have a lunch pail tree. Which
Is there
man,
anything?
I wish that existed.
Is there anything you want more in the world than a lunch pail tree?
If that had been really famous, that some amusement park somewhere there would be a lunch pail tree.
How did nobody make a lunch pail tree?
I don't know.
I think this is where my weird food thing comes from, because to me that is
What's your weird food thing?
like I love anything in a little container. I love airplane food, even when it's gross, because I like that it has these little sections. I love Lunchables. I love anything that comes
like
prepackaged.
cafeteria trays.
I could have a really great lunch, and I will still take a prepackaged lunch also, because I love both. But that lunch pail tree was maybe the thing I think about. I think about that at least every few months.
Yeah, the lunch pail tree is pretty
Anyway, I don't know what she said sandwich, but they were talking about getting her out of there.
Yeah. So they're talking about getting her out. We hear like weird moans and screams. And then they're walking. Oh, and then there's, of course, we've already been introduced to Jean Marsh, who we were talking about as Bavmorda from Willow.
She's got those classic
she
puffy shoulders.
Is so scary, that woman. She is
Nurse Wilson.
She's just, there's something about, she just looks mean, man.
She's so
That
evil.
actress is just, she just screams evil witch, that lady.
She really does.
But also in like evil witch, and not like a, I mean, she's also kind of like oddly attractive in that way too. Like you're just like, she's beautiful. Woman.
She's beautiful, very beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll show it to you. I love Angelica Houston. I would never replace her, but she would have been great in Witches. Like,
yes.
Angelica Houston is irreplaceable.
Yes, she's amazing.
And she is also
national treasure.
Stunning.
Yeah, national treasure.
Love her.
I'm
gonna look this picture up.
Bavmorda, or whatever. What'd you say? Nurse? What's her name?
Nurse Wilson.
Nurse Wilson. Yeah. So we've been introduced to her.
I wrote it down on my paper.
We've been introduced to her.
You know why I wrote it down? Because I was kind of hoping.
Don't point your paper at me.
Point that knife away from your father. Wait. I kind of was hoping, and I knew it wasn't far-fetched, that you might not know that Princess Mombi and Queen Bavmorda were the same person. I was just hoping you didn't know.
I have a question. Why are you stupid?
Do you know what this is from? Do you know what word should also be Yiddish? Something, something. Also far-fetched.
Did you just...
It's from the West Wing.
Did you just have a stroke?
It's from the West Wing. I'm going to look up a picture. You go ahead and talk to us about the movie that I know better than you. Go ahead. Except for that Peter Robin.
Oh, yeah, Peter Robin.
Peter Robin.
On the way to the room, yeah, so... Oh, wait, I do have a note here. It says, on the way to the room, we see something about a lunch pail. There's a lunch pail.
Yeah, they give her
a lunch pail? Oh,
that's
okay, there you go.
Oh, no, it's from Aunt M. Aunt M packed her a lunch.
That's what it is.
And she's like, you won't need that here.
Aunt M has a lunch pail. So, again, lunch pail. And then we hear the Wheeler noise.
Yeah.
And the guy who plays the head Wheeler is an orderly. And you hear the wheel, that squeaky wheel. Mm-hmm. The music and the art direction, this is so dreary. Like even the camera. Oh my gosh, is that G. Marsh?
Isn't that a cool
She's
picture?
Stunning.
She's so beautiful, and that picture is sick.
Wow.
I know.
Is that from a movie or something?
I don't know, but it's so
It looks
it
AI generated.
It's just this National Portrait Gallery, but
looks-
it's beautiful.
Looks like it's AI.
She could be Angelica Houston's sister. Anyway, but yeah, so you're right about the layering in, because throughout this movie, everything that you see play out is taking place
she's crazy.
in this asylum. So it's
She's totally nuts. And then let's see.
saying that.
She cray.
She doesn't go really crazy until the craft.
Great camera work, shot of Bev Morta and Orly's walking down the... Oh, that's right.
Wait, can I tell you a really, really quick story?
There's a great...
Please. All right, Firuza Balk, who we all know is also stunning and unique. Anyway, our friend, Josh's friend PC, growing up, obviously I was ever so slightly in love with him.
Oh, really?
He was beautiful with
He had
that
big
long,
hair.
luscious,
He
that
had big
hair,
curly
that
hair.
beautiful hair. So anyway, he came over. Josh's friends always came over, and they were like, it was like another bunch of older brothers that actually liked me, because you were at that point, you were done. You were just done. You were still very nice and supportive, but you were done. And Andy and PC were like, Jessi, and I was like, yeah. And then Andy was like, yeah, I wish my sister was as cool as you. And I was like, Josh thought that too. But his sister listened to Britney Spears. I don't know. It was a whole thing. So
Oh my gosh.
PC came in the room one day, and I was watching The Craft, and I was like, I'm going to hook him, because I thought he would think this was fascinating. So I was like, isn't this so cool?
What are you, like 8?
Shut up. I was in middle school, I think. No. But yeah, I was in middle school.
No, we're 5 years apart. So if I was in high school...
yeah, I was in middle school. So,
No, you might have been like 5th grade.
okay, great. Anyway, but I was watching this, and I was thinking in my head, I'm like, he's going to think I'm so cool for watching this movie. And it was the last scene where Firuza Balk is like, I'm flying at the end of The Craft, when she's in the mental institution.
haven't
She's in
seen
the
it.
Excuse me?
I did
You've
not...
never seen The Craft?
No.
Wow.
Watch which movies?
Are you? It's starring Firuza Balk.
Why is this so loud?
Josh.
Excuse me. I have to turn your mic down because you're spiking it.
Oh my
nearly
God, I can't believe you've
constantly.
never seen The Craft. Well, anyway, she's in an insane asylum at the end of the movie, and she's like writhing around. And I was like, and he was like, that's really upsetting. And I was like, what?
He's very sensitive.
And he was like, oh my God, that's so disturbing.
Yes.
You think this is good? I was like, I lost him.
Yeah, you
like,
lost
I
him.
was so upset. I was like, oh, well, you have to see their whole movie.
And you're like, no, she's mentally ill. And so she's just, we're kind of laughing at her.
Yeah. So anyway, back to your review.
I'm not reading a review.
You're reading
I'm
this.
not reading a review.
He's reading a synopsis.
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
reading. I'm not reading either. I'm reading
reading a
from notes I've done. We're just kind of going through, and this is where you talk about things.
Okay, go.
And I talk about
up.
things.
You're wasting
You don't
time.
even know, I'm wasting time.
Do you wanna get
Let's
ice
hear
cream?
more about how you were trying to hook my friend when you were in 5th grade. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So anyway, I was saying also the art direction and the direction. This is there's this shot where they're wheeling her down to get the electroshock therapy, and it's the eye line is off, which is super creepy. Something really very eerie about it. They just do some really... Walter Murch, who's the director and co-writer, who only directed this and one other random thing. I think he's directed maybe some Star Wars, Clone Wars stuff, I think. But anyway, yeah, he does some really interesting thing with it. It's very creepy.
Yeah.
Then they have that whole thing. The lights go out. They're about to give her electroshock therapy, but there's a storm raging. The lights go out. Ozma appears again, and it's We've got to run. Quick.
Quick, Dorothy, quick.
So they escape.
What's that sound? Do the line again.
What is it that they're running down the stairs and Jean Marsh comes out and is it you? And she goes, so or something. So
Yeah,
something
and
like
it's
that.
like and at that and I don't know. I'm just saying.
And then she chases them out into the storm and they run to the river, very Willow-esque. They get in the river.
She did all her own stunts. Did you know that?
I know. And
She
then
did her own stunts?
And they get in the river and they float away and Jean
They don't
Marsh
float away. It's storming out. She's running.
Sorry,
through
they're
the thing.
swept
They're-
away.
They're like, ah!
And then there's that weird cage that somehow they
It's Beline. It's
floating
a
around.
chicken coop. It's a chicken coop.
It's like a chicken coop,
Oh,
and then
no.
she climbs into
It's
it.
like a baby.
And Ozma's
crate.
gone. I don't know. And Ozma's gone.
Yeah, she drowns. She
And
gone.
the chicken somehow. How did the chicken get there? I don't remember.
I don't know.
So anyway, actually, I don't think the chicken's there till the morning.
No, chicken's not there anymore.
Anyway, Jean Marsh is in the river and like. And then anyway, so Dorothy falls asleep. And
I
then
like the Bav Mortis sound though she made when she's trying to get the girls out of there. And that's the one part for some reason when she's reaching for the girls and you actually think she might care for them because she's like, ah, but she's not.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't, but you feel almost kind of bad. You're like, oh, maybe she's not evil. Maybe she's trying to help them. And then you're like, no, she's crazy.
Yeah, but what's crazy is like cut to the end and they have that shot of her being taken away in the police carriage,
Oh, yeah.
which is really eerie. And they're like, and the doctor died. He ran back into the asylum trying to save his machine, and then you see her being taken away on the thing,
like-
and she's
Well,
just
and it's the
staring
same
out
cage
back
she was in
window.
the Gnome King's castle.
Yes, the same cage. In the
not the
Gnome
same
King
cage, but
castle.
it's the
No,
cage
you're
there.
right. No, she was caged. Yeah, lots of cage in this.
I like Loa.
Rusty cage.
When she's we'll get to that part when she's bowing. Loa.
Oh yeah, the Gnome King. Noah.
Loa.
I love his voice in that.
That's
in
Dad's
that,
favorite.
That whole scene is so wonderful, and he's so good in it. But anyway, we're ahead of ourselves. So she wakes up in
That
Oz.
tea looks great though. Continue.
She wakes up in Oz, but it's like a desert. She wakes up in the desert, and then the water disappears underneath the thing. But they can't.
The deadly
They decide to walk on the stones.
deadly desert.
Did she know it was the deadly
Yeah.
desert? She did.
She goes, "This must be the deadly desert," which I think is one of. If you weren't already there, the fans of the Wizard of Oz were like, first of all, there was no deadly desert in the Wizard of Oz. Second of all, how does this trifling little child know what it is? But
Well, apparently, maybe
in the
book
original,
it was
no, I'm
there.
saying that's when
I
you
know.
realize like all of that, even the egg thing, like all of that's in
So
the original.
bizarre. So
I'm going to be honest with you.
weird.
You know how we talk about the refrigerator logic where everything just makes sense and you don't question it?
Yeah.
I love this movie, but that's one question I'm like, can someone please explain the egg thing to me? And I looked into it. There's no answer.
There's no.
There's
I think
no
it's just Frank
answer.
L. Baum was just like writing some crazy stuff, and he's just like, this is
I will
great.
say I do love a little bit of an answer. Like if an egg has like some kind of symbolic, there's a purpose there. Anyway,
I'm sure
But
there
anyway,
is.
they wake
it
up
doesn't
and she's
really
like-
matter.
this must be the deadly desert.
Yeah, and she's got the chicken now. The chicken is now talking, and it's a sassy chicken.
Dorothy,
I don't know if I can deal with your whole.
my
like,
leg. Okay,
Oh, I'm in so much pain. Just move.
I can't move. If anyone has a herniated disc situation,
Oh, do you want to stand up?
no, I don't want
Would
to
you
stand
like to
up.
stand?
I don't want to stand up.
can.
I'd like to kick you in the face.
Why? You can. I'm trying to help you.
I know, but I'm angry because I'm in pain. I'm angry. I don't want to lose it.
Okay. All right.
It's from The Goodbye Girl.
Okay.
You need to watch that again.
I
Anyway,
do.
Dorothy.
Yeah, the chicken's sassy and it makes some good quips.
It
They're in
does.
the deadly desert. There's some super weird piano music I wrote down. The deadly desert as they walk into the lunch. So they walk. So we don't. Yeah. So we don't notice it till later. But they're walking on the stones because she doesn't say what happens if you step on the sand, does
You
she?
die, you idiot. It's called the deadly desert. You turn to stone.
Death Valley in California doesn't mean you die when you go
If you
through
touch
it.
it, first of all, you should know that because you'll see what happens later in the
I
movie.
know that, but I'm asking, did she say,
Yes.
she say, oh,
You touch it
Belina,
and
we
you turn
can't
to
touch
stone.
it? Okay, well, there you go.
She's like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah."
I was simply asking.
When you land in the deadly desert, in the land of Oz, don't touch the sand.
I understand that. I just was asking
how
if
mad he
Dorothy knew it.
See how bad he gets.
Gosh. So also I have here, how was there never a lunch pail tree place? So then they leave the deadly desert. They get to a lunch pail tree, which is just ingenious. I don't know what's in there, but I want it.
A ham sandwich. She eats a ham sandwich from that
Is
lunch
that what
pail.
it is? Okay.
I like that the Wheeler's upset she stole it too. Isn't that a stolen lunch bag?
Please,
Please, let me out. Let me out.
Oh, so great. The rock faces. So this is where we first see the rock faces too. They're following these which apparently I think I read something that like that was like a new technique they were using at the time. So it was like really like high-end special effects to do that.
I love when he's like, pardon? Like he makes little jokes, the rock face.
These faces, so they'll have a shot of a rock, and then all of a sudden this kind of like claymation type thing ripples into the rock, and there's a face there all of a sudden, and then it will disappear, and then it reappears in some unknown cave, and the face appears, and it's like, Sire, Dorothy Gale has arrived, and she has a chicken. You know?
Does he say that?
He at some point he got, and then because nobody's like, a chicken, and which is bizarre and so insane. We're like, why are these rocks talking, and why are they upset about a chicken?
But also,
we'll
get there.
Love
but
it.
Mombi, I think it's funny, didn't say anything about the chicken. She had no reaction to the chicken being in her castle.
She doesn't care about the chicken.
No, but he said the Gnome King doesn't allow chickens anywhere in the house. Now, he may have meant his house, but they were in Mombi's house. And then the chicken walks in, and she's like, oh, help me to rise. But doesn't mention the chicken. Anyway, let's get there first. So they're in the deadly desert.
So then they come across the old house, which is awesome.
Yeah, and the yellow brick road, and then the music builds up, and she starts running.
So they come across Dorothy's house that was from the first one, and it's like just laying in the middle of the woods, like overgrown and stuff. And then she notices the yellow brick road, and it's just all messed up, which is also a great image. And she starts running along. And I have this note here that I was like, I kind of wish that at some point they had done a remake of the original in this style.
Oh, that would be so cool.
You know what I mean? Like if they had done a dark... Because I have a feeling that the book is probably way more like this than the original musical thing was.
What do you mean you think it is? It is.
I think it because I haven't read it.
It is.
I cannot comment on that,
to read it.
Which I have not read. So,
also, they tell you that.
But I think it'd be really cool to see the original story in this style. Wait, they'll do it. You know, they're doing Neverending Story, I think, as a TV show, I think now.
I know, but then they cast all these like young, peppy people to be in it, and I don't like it. Then now they're gonna sing or something. It's gonna be weird.
The people that were in the first one were young and peppy then, I'm sure.
There's no excuse for the child that was in the Neverending Story.
Why?
Well,
so
Atreyu was.
Why are you so
little
mean?
Kid was.
What do you mean? There's no excuse.
That child in the thing with the attic, that he was terrible.
Oh, that's so mean. He
Have
was
you
not. No, he wasn't.
Can we move on?
You're a bad person.
I'm feeling very crotchety right now.
You are coming across like it too, sister.
That's funny.
Literally. Because you're literally my sister.
Oh my God. That's
I'm Josh Cook.
And I'm Jessi Cook. But every time I say, oh, brother, John goes, is Josh here? I'm like, freaking idiot. Or he'll go, no, I'm John. I'm like,
I like that it's every time. And you know what's
time.
great? One little anecdote, which is that John loves Miller Lite so much that my daughter at age like 9, I think, drew a picture of a Miller Lite bottle. And my daughter's a pretty good
she's a pretty
artist.
decent artist.
And so she did this like Miller Lite bottle on this page, and on the top it goes, John wants, John needs. It's a Miller Lite bottle.
But the best part was, right, she did one for me with goldfish, and it was like, Jessi wants, Jessi gets. And John was like, so Jessi wants, Jessi gets, but I want and I need.
Yeah.
Do I get? She was like, no. It was so good.
I don't know why I'm coughing.
Viral.
Oh, okay. So, anyway.
Oh, my action has run down.
I also thought it was amazing how fast she gets to Oz this time.
She ran. She was like, I'm there.
She ran, but like if you think of the first
No.
one, it was like a day. It was a very long journey.
She was like, click, 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 click. Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's dead. Yeah.
And so then we move into Oz, which is like, this is one of the coolest things. I love you see
So
the
haunting.
You see the broken dome, the glass domes, and everything's a mess. They go into Oz, it's a mess. There's rubble everywhere, and there's these creepy white statues everywhere. And it's like what you come to realize later is these are people of the residents of Oz, Ozians. I don't know,
Ozians, yeah.
who have all been frozen, like they've been turned to stone. And it's so eerie. And then they find this one circle of women dancing, holding hands, but they all have no heads.
Wait,
And you're like, what is that about?
when you were mentioning the statues, and it was like, it's so
You
eerie.
mean just right now?
Yes, but it's so eerie. And they do like the special sound. And the first thing I heard in my head was the sound in Harry and the Hendersons when he's looking at the heads, and it's like, no.
Little flutes?
Yeah, it's like,
I sort of remember that,
it's
but
the
I don't
same
remember
kind
that
of
in this.
like, but it's super, it's like, it's just so abandoned and creepy and like, whoa. But yeah, the
It's so
headless
creepy.
girls.
And then you see the
what
headless
happened to their
girls.
heads?
Yeah,
Belina.
Belina. You see the headless girls, and then it also spray painted as "Beware the Wheelers,"
Which really
I
bothered me.
love that.
Don't like that.
I
really?
love it.
I was like, who spray painted that? That's the old. Those
You're
are the,
trying to apply real logic to it. It
But that,
doesn't make
I
any
know
sense.
not a lot of things bug me, but I have a weird thing with text in movies like that.
Okay, I see
Or
that.
the Wheelers.
I hear that.
I don't even know why. It's almost like, well, we can't explain this, so let's write it on the wall.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's my huge pet peeve with voiceover, and a lot of people's too.
Well, and when they do dream sequences and things like that, or whatever it is, you're trying to like.
Depends how it's
they're
done.
Like, I'm not sure.
One
we're
of
gonna
the
be able
best
to-
dream sequences ever is The Big Lebowski. Oh my gosh,
That's-
so good. Anyway, no, I hear you though with the text and the stuff and the voiceover.
fuck
The
'em with the
voiceover
Jesus.
kills me, especially the one, and I see it. You see it a billion times, especially in TV pilots, but movies especially. Huh?
What voiceover? What do you mean?
Oh, a voiceover where it's like it was big in like the late 90s, early 2000s. This thing of like, someone like, let's say, quirky cute girl or doesn't know she's cute is what it'll say in the text. And it's like she's walking down the street.
that.
She's walking down the street or something, and then all of a sudden like she'll be like, oh, hope nothing else goes wrong today, and then she'll trip, and then it'll freeze frame, and then you'll hear that's me, and you're just like, no.
Oh, I hate
But there was a trend of
stuff.
that for so long where it's like freeze frame and then the character you see frozen is like, well, things were not going well that day, and you're like, please don't do this.
This is not relevant, so I'm going to mention it and then we're going to go off of it. But that's also a thing for me, and not that I don't appreciate extras. You were an extra once, long ago, but when you're
2 times,
probably many times, but like, no, maybe not. Whatever is the over dramatic extras.
Oh, I love them.
Oh God, it's so painful.
One of my favorite is in Rounders. There's a guy in Rounders who is just... Oh, actually, you know what? There's a guy in Rounders. He's my favorite. And,
Wait, do you mean they're actually good or like they're just?
oh no,
so
like they're just so going for the gold. They're
and
going
it's
for the
so
Oscar,
uncomfortable.
and it is. And the thing is, I did extra work. Like I said,
Denzel Washington.
And when Fallen was Denzel Washington movie, John
Cheesesteak.
Goodman, who was shot here in Philly. I was a senior in high school, and they like on the radio were like, "Come on down to Pat's and Gino's.
Yeah.
They're going to be shooting this Denzel Washington movie. We need
That's
people to
where
be
it
there. Come
all
on down."
started.
And I was like, "Oh." Well, that'll be interesting. I want to see how I was going to UCLA. I think at this point I was ready to go. But I was like, oh, I want to see how a movie set works. That makes sense. I'll go and like just kind of watch.
And you wanted to cheesesteak.
And so I went, and then I ate like 1 million cheesesteaks that night. And I'm in one shot of the movie with my long hair.
Yeah.
I had long hair.
It's very like
But
there's
anyway,
Josh.
But I learned a very important lesson that night, which is that it's the first AD that runs the set. Like I always thought the director is the one running the set, and that is not true. It is the first AD running that set, and I learned that night. And I kind of like was figuring out what everyone did. and there are some interesting people who are extras, and there was one woman that night who ironically cannot remember her name, but she said, my name is, let's call her Stephanie. She's like, my name is Stephanie, and you remember that because you're going to be hearing it. And it was just like, ooh, and it was, I don't know. And then I did extra work another time in LA on, what was that? Boston Public.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was at UCLA.
With the guy whose name we couldn't remember, who's so insanely famous. James Spader.
Was he in Boston Public? No.
Boston
Legal.
Oh,
Boston
sorry.
Public was the school. It was David E. Kelly. It was the school show. But I was an extra in that because I was like, I want to learn how a TV set works. So I went down to do that, and I learned some things. But I there also met some people, and I met one of those extras who was like, they are trying to be noticed. But anyway, in Rounders,
on them, and they're like, oh my God.
there's a guy in Rounders, and it's the scene where like they're playing with a bunch of sheriffs and stuff, and they get found out that they've been cheating. And there's one guy in that scene, and he's trying his best to make like the tough face you could ever. He's this older guy. And he's like, yeah, and he's just making this face, and it just is right in the center of the frame, and he's just mugging the hell out of it. But beyond that, he was my favorite. But then recently, I rewatched Ghostbusters. There is a dude in the scene. It's in the scene where they're in jail, and there is an extra who is full on doing the whole like. You can't hear him, of course, but what he's doing with his body.
I saw him. He's like,
can you believe what these guys are saying? What
yes,
these guys are saying is crazy. Look at this crazy stuff these guys are saying. Can you believe how and it's all with his hands, and you're just like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
and I wonder if Harold Ramis.
Oh,
not Harold Ramis. I wonder, not Ramis. Oh my gosh, it was Jason's dad. Oh my gosh, who's the director of that? Oh my gosh.
oh, this is fun.
Oh, this hurts my head. Because Jason just did the newer one. Oh my gosh. This is killing me. I'm picturing it and I know him and I'm... What is wrong with my head right now? He's like a legendary director. How am I doing this? Please tell me his name. Reitman. Ivan Reitman. My gosh. That was a... brain freeze. Anyway, I kind of wonder if Ivan Reitman was like sitting there behind.
I should have said it's gonna be all right, man. Stupid.
Yes, that would have been. I wonder if Ivan Reitman was in the director chair watching this guy and someone was like, "Do you want me to calm that guy down?" He's like, "No, I like it." Just like that's pretty funny.
But it's always confusion, like that, or like, yeah, right. And you're like, what are you doing?
That's just.
But you know what?
Yeah.
That would be me. I cannot act. I would be that person in the background, like.
It's tough. It's tough. It depends because there's also like there are different ADs who are put in charge of like explaining what to do and how to do it, and it's tough. Managing crowd work is tough.
Is it? Can we get ice cream after this?
No.
Why not?
Because you have not behaved.
Ow.
I didn't hurt her. I didn't. So all that has to do with Return to Oz.
All my notes are done.
Somehow we got through Rounders.
Wait. No.
We got to Rounders.
Listen, we were actually really on track, so let us keep going. So
Headless statues. Yikes.
Beware the Wheelers.
Beware the Wheelers. And you're right. I get what you're saying, but I still liked it. I liked it. I liked it. It's a eerie. It's showing you something's coming, and then they show up. Those costumes are amazing. I've always wanted to do that for Halloween. So there, for anyone who hasn't seen this, there are these
They're like
saying guys. I guess they are guys,
suits.
but it's like they're on these like stilts that have wheels on the end on their arms and then wheels on their feet. So they look like there's these kind of weirdly shaped ape-like things, and they have these insane costumes that are like shimmery with all sorts of weird.
It's like a Technicolor
piping and stuff.
Starlight Express situation.
It
That's
is.
What
it is like a weird
pink
and
hair.
then they're like pink hair and like white makeup with like rosy cheeks, and they all could have done it. And they just laugh. It's so
when they're cornering them in the cave.
That scares. I remember
And
that.
I'm like, oh
yeah,
God.
Dorothy runs and she gets stuck in this trap in this kind of like corridor and she can't get out, and they're slowly inching towards her and they're laughing. Yeah, and it's so. I remembered that. Like, I wasn't like scared as a kid, but I remembered like being like, "Oh, this is so eerie and creepy."
You just feel like
and I
they're gonna eat
remember
her,
that
like-
shot. That shot is so eerie.
And they're like, it's a dark, and it's.
And then she
just
remembers
so-
that she found a key on the farm, and then she puts the key in. And
She
into
doesn't
the
remember.
stone.
Belina remembers.
Yes, Melina the chicken. And then she goes into the stone wall, opens up, and then she's in the secret room where TikTok is, which is this robot.
Wait. Oh, no.
What?
I was going to say something about the Wheelers.
Oh, I'm sure it was great.
Oh, never mind. It's coming up. Go ahead.
Okay. And so then she finds TikTok, and long story short, she realizes he has 3 different not knobs.
Excuse me.
What?
TikTok. You're not getting. He's like a giant gold
Rotund,
Pillsbury doughboy.
yeah.
He's He's
With a
called
mustache.
the Royal Army of Oz. So he's just
one
like
of
this mechanical.
Yeah, the army had these. I guess it was an army of these robots.
He's the Royal Army of Oz.
They were gold, although he's copper looking now because he's just been sitting there for so long.
She doesn't know
It's all
him. though.
cobwebbed. No,
She doesn't know.
he's all cobwebbed and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got these 3 keys on his back. And you have to wind the key. Well, you wind one key for action, one key is for thinking, and one key. What's the third one? What's the third key?
Voice speaking.
Speaking, right. And so she winds them all up. And the first thing he says is, "Are you Dorothy Gale?" and then, which is awesome. And she's like, "Yeah." And then he goes, "Scarecrow told me to wait here for you." And you're just like, "What?" Like, I love how wonderful that is. And also, you're like, "Oh my gosh, she's insane."
Stop.
She's so crazy.
She's so sweet.
I know.
Oh, my action ran down.
Action run. And he tells the story that like everyone was running and in fear, and the Scarecrow put him there and said, "Wait here for Dorothy Gale." And I waited here until my action ran down, and then my speaking ran, and I yelled for help until my speaking ran down.
Oh
It's
yeah. You were fidgeting with
calm
that. That
down.
was you.
Calm down.
And wait,
Calm down. Calm.
wait. But then she's like, "Why didn't you turn to stone?" And he's like, "I am not alive."
I am not alive. It's just like, thank God or something like that. But anyway,
Thank goodness I am not
so
alive.
she winds him up, and then she realizes he's part of the army, so he's going to take care of the Wheeler. So he walks out. And I gotta say, I can see why. I mean, it's a good thing Oz wasn't ever attacked by an army because they would have lost.
Do you know what is
it's not great?
so freaking satisfying?
No.
When TikTok is walking through Mombi's castle and it's all dusty and his little footsteps leave perfect, clean circles on the floor.
This has been a glimpse into the mind of Jessi.
People out there will understand. Is it not working? Why are you doing that? Bataraziz!
Bataraziz! Get another one.
Another one, you moron!
I love that guy. I mean, not an extra, one line, but he is just the best. Bataraziz.
Anyway.
True lies.
But yeah, anyway, we haven't gotten there yet. We're chronologically we're doing it. Okay. So
I don't
TikTok
care for the
comes
way you
out.
said that.
I'm thirsty. Oh, it's empty. Shoot.
There's a sink down there. Maybe you can put your head under the faucet and just slurp.
I'm about to slurp.
Anyway, so then they walk out, and TikTok, don't look at anything.
Is that a blister?
Don't look at anything.
What is that?
I don't even know. Don't look at anything.
God.
So
Is that part of your finger?
I like that. So why are you shaming? I don't know.
Ouch.
It's some kind of like, I think it's a it's a scarring thing of some
Okay.
kind. Scar tissue. It's
check
built
it out.
up, unfortunately.
Okay.
I've had it for years, literally.
Ew.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for making me feel body conscious.
Okay.
And now I hate myself. She is referring to this weird scar tissue kind of growth thing that I have on one of my knuckles. And I'm
Can
not.
you never say knuckles like that again?
How do you pronounce it?
Knuckles.
No, I say knuckles. How do you
I'm
pronounce
gonna
it?
throw up. Stop. Stop it.
So anyway, the TikTok walks out and he takes care of the Wheelers, but they see as they're kind of running from them the Tin Man, this Tin Man statue.
Oh yeah.
You know, and he's got his axe raised and he's frozen there.
Dorothy, look out!
And then the cowardly.
Can I ask you why you haven't complimented me on my Belina imitation yet?
Because I hate you.
Isn't that? It's good though.
Yes, it is.
Dorothy, look out!
Yes,
All right.
You sound just like the chicken.
We all have
Are
our
you
things.
happy now? Yes, you sound like the chicken.
Yes.
You do a wonderful job.
Excellent. I've been honing that for a long time.
So they see the statue of the cowardly lion and the Tin Man.
Oh, cowardly lion.
Wheelers are awesome. Masks laugh. Remember, so freaked out. We did TikTok. Great music. Slow. Oh yeah, the music for him is that slow, weird brass music. I love. Yeah. Okay, so then so he captures one of the Wheelers, who's the guy we've been talking about.
Is he electrocuting him? Because he's holding him and he keeps going. I thought he was just pinching him, but I hear like a buzzing.
It's like they're all like tweakers. They're all like weird tweakers. I think he's just pinching him, or he's whatever. He's just crazy.
Let me go, please.
Yeah, and so he leads them to Princess Mumbi's castle or whatever, and then lets him go, and he just does that creepy ass laugh, and then
that's my favorite part. When he's like, you behave yourself, and he goes, I will behave. And then he gets away. He goes, you behave.
Yeah, it's so great. I love that guy.
I will.
And that laugh he has, it's seared in my brain. Truly, like I've never hearing it again. It was like, ooh, like it gave me chills. I love that. And then the best costume in this whole movie is Mumbi's. She wears this insane gown that has like, I don't even know what it's made out of in the front.
It looks like metal porcupine quills.
But then she's got this huge, like there's got to be 2 or maybe 24 of these, 1.5 to 2 foot long metal thin shards that just extend from the collar backwards. And when she walks, it just like the stuff clings together. The costumes and the art direction of the movie, I mean, so much money. So much money they spent on this thing. I mean, there are giant sets that they have that are in it for a scene. It's just, it's wild how much.
I love the head. And so when she walks in, Mombi's sitting there, and she almost looks like Maid Marian's like assistant who's like looking out for her, but it really is Princess Mombi. But she's so like quiet and pretty.
Yeah, she's just playing a lute,
hanging out, and then
or a type situation.
Help me to rise.
Yeah,
and then you realize that that's not really Princess Mombi, but it is Princess Mombi. But
they walk into they're in this beautiful like this huge hall, and she's just there playing this lute type instrument. As she says, she yawns, help me to rise, and they walk into this hallway, and they open these doors, and it's just these beautiful. I always feel like they're velvet lined cases of heads, just dozens, because I think it's like 30 some heads, and they're all these women's heads, and they're all. It's just you see from their neck up only,
and they're looking around.
And they're all looking around, and you're like, "What is going on?" And this woman walks down, and so the Princess Mombi walks down and opens this one thing and takes her head off.
I think number 4. Yeah.
She takes her head off of her body and puts it in the empty case. And that's when you're like, oh my gosh.
And why I don't remember, again, being scared that this woman literally took her head off.
It's so freaky, but such a brilliant idea, too. It's so smart.
To Dorothy's credit, she's just like, huh.
Yeah, she's not freaked out.
Any other child would be like, what the
it's so bizarre.
Like,
What a crazy concept. And like for a kids, we're like, this will be good for a kids movie. Let's do it. And it's like what I love that they did was so great.
What did she say? She's like, I think number 4 will do for today.
Yeah, something eerie like that. And then so she puts another head on, And I just love that concept is so great. I love it.
And when she puts it on, no, before she puts it on, she spins it around and drops it to her eye level. And goes,
that's right.
What do you think?
That's right. Oh, yeah.
I think you're very beautiful. I should hope so. It's just like locks the head on. You're like,
so weird. Yeah, and then she locks the head in place, and then I can't remember what she says, but she drags her up to a room, and she's like, your head will do nice one day, or whatever. Yeah.
I believe I'll lock you in the tower for a few years.
That's right.
Until your head is ready, and then I'll take it. And then Feruza's like, I believe you will not.
Oh, that's right.
She's so spicy.
So then she drags her up the stair, and then TikTok's about to knock her out, but then he's like, uh-oh, my action has worn down. And then he's just there, and he just is like standing in the middle of the hallway.
Isn't she like, ha?
Yeah.
Runs
Yeah.
past him.
And as he runs past him, runs up all these stairs, throws her in this room, locks her in there. And then she's in this room, and that's where she meets Jack Pumpkinhead, who's all... Mom!
Do you think Linus sounds like
Which
that?
is also totally nuts. Like, what the hell? It's so bizarre.
I don't love Jack. He's not my fave.
It's just so weird.
But don't you feel like if Linus could talk, that's how he would say mom? Mom!
No, he's like, Mom.
Oh.
Hello? Food. Your dog has a dumb voice for sure.
Does not.
He sure does.
No, he sounds like Chance from Homeward Bound.
No, he
sounds like
doesn't.
Michael J. Fox.
No, he doesn't.
really
He's like,
does.
I hope I have food. Do you have the food? That's what he sounds like.
No, he doesn't.
Jack Pumpkinhead. The first thing he says is, Mom, is that you? You're like, what the heck is going on? This is like 8-foot tall stick figure scarecrow with a pumpkin head. You're like, what the heck is this thing?
I don't like him.
I thought he also... I love. There's a really interesting logic thing they do here, which is so funny to me. That he's telling the story of how he was captured, which I don't fully remember, but I do love that he says, she captured me. She was wearing Head 22. And then locked me up here, but she must not have worn Head 22 in a while because I don't think because she's forgotten about me. And I'm like, that's kind of a brilliant idea that each head has like its own separate memories of things.
It's like, this happened, and here I am.
And here I am.
Oh my God, you sound just like him. See, was that hard? It's a compliment. You sounded just like him.
Anyway.
Did. It was good.
So, did they start trying to make the Gump
No.
now?
What's
No.
a Gump? Why do they call him a Gump?
I don't know.
Well,
they just call it a Gump. It looks like a moose to us, but in there it's called a Gump.
think-
That's why.
I don't...
So they're in this room, and they're locked in, and Jack the Pumpkinhead is there, and then somehow they figure, oh, that's right. He was brought to life by Mombi because she had some life potion or potion of life or something they call it.
Where's my powder of life?
Powder of life. And that's what brought him to life. And I
Yeah.
don't remember why she did it, but for some reason she brought him to life. And so they decide that they're going to they're going to escape. I can't remember the exact order of
I
this.
don't know why they came up with that. I don't, honestly.
Well, I think they're going to escape, but
How?
I don't remember the chronology of it. They decide they're going to escape, and what they're going to do is they're going to build, this thing between like two couches, the head of this moose, which is called a Gump, and then something else. They tie it all together with ropes, and they're going to go get the powder of life, bring it together, and they put palm fronds as wings. And they're going to sprinkle the powder of life on it, and it's going to fly them out of there, is what they decide. And I don't remember, TikTok is helping at some point, but I don't remember how, because Dorothy has to go downstairs to go, because the powder of life is in head,
Her original head.
the original head, but it's like number 30 something,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Oh, and that's the bet. We
So
gotta both do the yell.
Oh, I know.
We
So
gotta
she
both
goes.
do
So
it.
she sneaks down there in the middle of the night, and all the heads are asleep. Well, she somehow winds TikTok up, but TikTok goes back upstairs to build this thing with Pumpkinhead. And I love it. It's like an immediate rivalry. And Jack the Pumpkinhead's like, he's like, so you understand what we're supposed to do? And he's like, I understand it better than you. Or something.
Yes!
Like that. It's like
He gets so pissed.
he's so pissy.
He's like, who are you?
He's so bitchy. It's great.
He's like an old queen. Like
Yeah.
he really becomes just like an old queen. Like
Yeah. And so then Dorothy continues, and that's what must be what it is. They go down to wake him up, and then she continues on. Must be. So she continues on into the Hall of Heads, and they're all asleep, which is super creepy. And then she goes to the end of the thing and open. And it's the only one. It's the only door that you can't see into, which is a brilliant choice because you don't know what's going to happen. She opens it up and it's Jean Marsh. It's for the nurse from the asylum, and the head is there, and she's got like fabulous hair and like glitter on her face. She looks amazing, and there's all these weird trinkets in there, and one of them is the powder of life. So she goes to take the powder of life. And I can't remember how they shoot this exactly, but it just like pans up and her eyes open.
I think she knocks it over.
She knocks it over and the eyes open. She wakes up and looks at her and then just goes in this great thing. She just goes, Dorothy Gale.
And all the girls are like,
and all the heads like, ah! They all wake up. And
she tries to bite her when she leaves, isn't she? Like,
and then she runs. Then she does it again. Dorothy Gale. And then she just books it out of there, and the music's going. And it is
headless
so
body.
Scary.
Yeah,
that's
she's
right.
like, get over here.
That's right, because she says Dorothy Gale, and the headless body shoots up out of the bed.
Oh my God, it's
that's
so
right, because
good.
she goes to headless body first to get the key. That's what she does to open the thing.
No, because it's on her wrist.
It's on the wrist, so she
That's
takes it
right.
off the wrist. That's how she opens the thing.
Yeah.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's so
But
good.
yeah, she says Dorothy Gale, and they have this great shot. The angle's low, and the body just sits up, and it's headless, and it's so eerie. She books it out of there, gets up to the room, she puts the head on, and she's going, she puts her head on, she's chasing after her. Eventually the door, she finally gets in, they sprinkle the powder of life.
Where's my powder of life?
Yeah, and they push the thing out the window, and they're falling, and the Gump's hilarious.
But
The
it
Gump's like,
wasn't ready.
where am I? He's like, last thing I remember, I was on a road, or something like that. He's like,
But it wasn't ready because TikTok's thinking ran down, and he was like,
oh, that's right. TikTok's insane. He's just shouting all these crazy directions that don't make any sense because his thinking ran down. So she winds it back up. They get it together. They push it out the door just as Mombi comes in, and then just as they're about to hit the bottom, they fly up out of the courtyard and they fly over. And then Mombi's like, "Get them! Wake up, you idiots!" to the Wheelers, and we're all asleep at the bottom of the castle for some reason. They all wake
like
up,
dogs,
and they start. Yeah, they're like dogs, and they start chasing them. And I love this sequence. And man, I do remember this. They chase them. They're through the woods, and you can see them following them from down below.
Yeah.
And then they fly out over the desert, the deadly desert, which we've seen, but we only heard what happens.
Yeah.
And two of the Wheelers go full speed, like off of not cliff, but a little jump, and they fall into the deadly desert. They hit the sand, roll down, and then immediately disappear. They just freeze into like sand sculptures. And you're like, oh, that's creepy and which is also great because one, it's a great image, it's scary, and then two, you realize it's as far as you can see is the deadly desert, and they're heading towards the Gnome King's Mountain, which is way out in the middle of the deadly desert. And so now if they fall, and if they fall, like that's what is going to happen to them. And the last thing you see in that sequence, I believe, is one of the ropes starting to loosen that's holding their thing together. It's a really well done sequence in that way where you're like, everything, every threat that's happening, all the things. It's really well done.
It is. That's
put
good.
together well. Also, we somewhere in here, we might have passed it already, but we did. Somewhere in here, while Dorothy is, I think, imprisoned, Mombi's playing the lute thing. And you see like this kind of spectral light in the mirror of one of the great hall. And she says, what does she say?
She's Ozma.
Yeah.
But she says something like,
Dorothy said, no one will remember you after, for much longer or something like that.
Yeah.
And we don't know who Ozma is. We just see this light.
There's no one left who even knows who you are.
That's what it is. That's right. It's so great.
Good.
And it's so eerie. And you're like, what is that? Who's Ozma? Because we don't know what's the little blonde girl.
We don't see her face. Do we see her like faintly in the glass? I feel like we do.
It's very blurred. Like you have no idea. It's very, very blurred on purpose because you're not supposed to know who she is.
There's no one left who even knows who you are.
So when we get to the Gnome King's thing in his voice, gosh, that guy. What a voice that guy.
He's so sassy too.
He's a sassy
I feel like he and TikTok would hit it off.
Yeah. They managed to get just to the mountain somehow. Like they fall apart and they're falling through the sky and they land on the mountain. And then the rock face is there, and then the Gnome King comes and talks to them. He says that I don't think they know they have a chicken there because the chicken, Bellina's inside Jack Pumpkinhead's head.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
don't know that there's a chicken on the mountain. And so anyway, the Gnome King is talking to them. And I don't know at what point he gives the sort of the little bit of the backstory. I think they're already inside the mountain. They get invited inside the mountain.
I don't even remember how they get into it. Is it just like open up?
I
and
think
they walk in?
there's a door that they open up somehow that opens
Where does
it.
the Gump go?
And they come in. The Gump just stays outside. We're done with it. No, that's not
No,
true.
he
The Gump comes in because he guesses.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, they go inside, and there's this great backstory about how the Emerald City was built because they mined all the
Yeah.
emeralds from within the gnome. You get the idea that the Gnome King is sort of the overlord of all of the underworld.
Yeah.
Essentially, and so they stole all the emeralds, and so he turned them all into stone, which is kind of a great backstory.
That's kind of. I know this is going to sound dumb. It didn't even occur to me that he turned them to stone because he's stone. I know.
Yeah.
It just didn't really.
That's what he did.
Shut up.
That's what he did.
Shut up.
Yeah. So I love that, and then the Gnome King. Oh, okay. So they come in. He gives them this whole backstory, and the whole time he's just talking in that voice that he has. And it's so wonderful and eerie. And he's this just very claymation-y rock thing. And he eventually forms into a kind of a sort of a vaguely shaped like a person.
Like a crusty Santa Claus?
Yeah.
He's got little toes. Oh,
but not yet, though.
Not yet. No, he's got a robe.
Because he's really just sort of a rock face,
Yeah.
and then he's just kind of like boulders together. And then what happens is he says that he turned Scarecrow, who was the ruler of Oz, into an ornament, is what he calls it. An ornament. And it's in his ornament room or something like that.
Which, by the way, as a child was all I ever wanted.
So cool.
Oh, my God.
So he proposes that if they want to play a game, they could go in to each one at a time to this room. And if they could guess which ornament, and they have no idea what this ornament room is, but if they can guess which ornament is Scarecrow, then Scarecrow will be free and he'll restore everything in Oz back to the way it was. And so they agree to the game without asking, like, what happens if we don't? Like, they don't really bother to ask that question.
Do they?
No, they don't. And so, like, he's like, wonderful. And so he sends the Gump goes first. And this is one of the coolest effects. And Alicia was watching me. She was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Which is that when they open the tunnel to it, it's just a rock face, but these rock hands form, and the rock hands, it's like there's like dozens of rock hands, and they just kind of pull the rock away, and it opens this passageway. It's such a cool effect.
And this is when I remember that Dad either introduced us to this movie because he loves anything to do with rocks and rock shapes. He loves this movie. He has those weird rock sculptures in the trees at our house. He takes pictures of rocks that look like faces. He has a whole thing about rock formation.
I never really thought about it that way.
Oh my
but
God,
he's got a thing for
He
that.
loves that scene. He loves the movie, but he loves that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so the Gump goes in, and then they continue talking. They have tea, which does look delicious.
First of all, that's
like
the Kenichi of this movie.
It is the Kenichi.
It looks
really delicious.
It's like melted silver, but it looks like
it's like you're either eating like minerals. it looks amazing.
So good.
And so he's just kind of hanging out with them, and then all of a sudden there's this like kind of thunderous sound, and then like everything shakes, and then he's like, "All right, who's next?"
Oh yeah,
and then
but that's not fair.
And they don't know what's going on yet. They just choose who goes next, which is not TikTok. It's Jack goes next.
Yeah, but they're like, what? That's when she's like, what happened? What happened to the Gump?
But is that when they find out?
Yeah, because you were right. Because they didn't. Because he's like, he's become one of my ornaments.
I've turned into an ornament.
But that's not fair.
And he's like, I told you that you would have to risk something. And it's this whole eerie thing. But the key thing is that after each time, he becomes more human looking.
He does.
Well, that's what he says. He reveals the whole thing is that he's trying to be human. He wants to become
But
human.
I never noticed that he was actually.
Oh, each time he becomes far more human.
I never noticed
And
that.
he becomes less rock formation. And so Jack goes in next. And now they all realize what's happening is if they don't, they have 3 guesses. You each have three guesses. And if they don't guess correctly, they'll also be turned into an ornament. And what's great, I love that they do this directorially, is you never see the room until Dorothy goes at the end.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, by the way, we should
It's sort
mention...
of like it's like the Holy Grail. They're tapping on stuff.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Princess Mombi is... I mean, that was after this, but...
I know, I'm just
Meanwhile,
saying.
Princess Mombi is in her carriage being pulled by the Wheelers all the way to the thing because she's racing to tell the Gnome King that Dorothy and these people are coming. They're coming for him. Oh, poor Mombi. We don't know what she does, but she's not good at it. So
You had one job.
really, Mombi, one job. So then they realize they're being turned into ornaments, and then they're having this whole philosophical conversation about stuff with the Gnome King, and then Jack goes in and he gets turned in, and then I can't remember at what point. Oh no, I know what it is. Yeah. So then TikTok goes in. And then it's just Dorothy and the Gnome King, and then you hear that TikTok has been transformed, and so. Oh no! Oh, that's right. That's right. A message that the rock face comes. Does Mombi arrive before Dorothy goes in? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. So anyway, probably not.
Oh yeah, no, because I think she
No,
does.
because they're all gone. Because she's acting like she's telling him information, and
When
then,
he's like,
and then she's
already
like,
here.
you know, and he's like, of course I know, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're already here.
Yeah.
But anyway, so TikTok goes in. You hear 2 thunderous things. There's a thunderous thing after each guess, and then the rock face slithers across the wall and whispers something. And at this point, the Gnome King looks like a person. And actually, it is. It's the actor just in kind of gray makeup, and he's sort of
I never
stoned.
even noticed that.
And now he's a person. And you get the sense that if Dorothy is... Actually, I think he says to Mumbai, if Dorothy is turned, he will be human then. And so, like, those are the stakes for him, which for whatever reason he wants to be human. So we don't get into it, and we don't really care. Yeah. So he says TikTok is frozen in the ornament room. And she's like, oh, I guess his action has wound down. And he's like, I will allow you to go in.
Which is shocking to me. I can't believe he was like, go for it.
No, but it's great though. You need it to happen. And you know, it's one of those things that's like it's a logic problem, but like they solve it well. It doesn't really bother me.
I don't care. I'm just
and
saying.
so he's like, you go. And so the rock thing opens up and she's walking in. Then he's like, Dorothy. He's like, you could go home now if you want. And then he like pulls up his like rock robe and the ruby slipper. He has the ruby slippers on.
I love that he's wearing,
which is so wonderful because he's like this very like rock man, and he's wearing ruby slippers, and it's kind of like, oh, that's pretty woke for back then.
It's pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie.
And it's the most bizarre juxtaposition, and it's so wonderful that I love it. And apparently, I think that one of the things that this movie spent a lot of money doing was getting they're the actual shoes.
They are?
I believe they're if I remember correctly, they're the actual shoes, and they spent a lot of money to use the actual shoes. So anyway, so he's wearing the ruby slippers, and he says, you could just take these now and go, you know, or whatever it is. And she decides she needs to rescue her friends. And so she continues on, and then she walks into the ornament room, and that's this very like Kubrickian kind of room where there's just little trinkets and statues and things all over the place.
I would go nuts in there. That's actually kind of what my room looked like in my head.
It's it is reminiscent of the stages of life room from the end of 2001 a little bit, but it's like
I was like, what? Got it.
You know, this is film stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Kubrick. One of the things was he was very anyway. Mombi arrives, And then she's there. She's like, look out. Dorothy and friends are coming to get you.
You didn't let her out too. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't let her escape as well.
Yeah, he gets really freaked out when she brings up Ozma.
That's
and he's
right.
like, you haven't let her. And then she's like really afraid. No. But also, you were saying, she comes in, he's like, and she bows to him, and he goes, lower. And she bows lower, and he goes, lower. And she lowers again, and she's like, on.
Her face is on the
face gets, whatever she goes, I think it's one more. He's like, lower. And then she like gets on, laying face down on the ground. And like, it's so. Oh, it's so weird. And
but you're right. Like he freaks out. He's like, Ozma.
Yeah,
haven't let her escape as
he's
well.
afraid of Ozma for some reason. So we're back in the ornament room, and she chooses twice, and she's wrong. And I don't remember why. She eventually walks up to something.
Oh, I know.
What is it? What is it?
She watches him choose, and he's like,
oh, that's right. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
She walks up to TikTok, and she's about to wind him up. She goes, Dorothy. He's like, I am here on purpose. I wanted you to see me choose, and maybe you could have an idea of what I looked like.
Can you be TikTok for Halloween this year?
Yeah, I would love to. So, but you're totally right. That's what happens. Go on.
I'm usually right. Anyway. I almost...
Could be wrong. I could... Okay, go on.
No, that was it. That was just I guess I don't think she does see it. I think she just suddenly sees something that's...
No, that's right. No, because it's a clever plan.
So fast.
It's a clever plan, and he's like, maybe you will see what I turn into. And then he chooses something, it just disappears.
Yeah.
No idea. So she's looking around. She chooses twice. Nothing's working. And then she goes... And something about that really got me. She was like, there's one last chance or I'm done. Like there was something that really hit me that way for some reason. I don't know why.
And that's the electroshock therapy working.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It was like green plaid. It was something that...
Well, she walks up to something and then she's going to choose one thing. And then right next to it is something with
like an
green.
emerald. It's like an emerald or something?
It's an emerald. And then she looks at it and she just like for a second goes and like touches it. And then she says, you have to touch it and say Oz is what you have to say. So she says Oz, and then Scarecrow like appears out of nowhere. And you're like, whoa. And he looks.
Dorothy!
The artwork is, the art direction is so wonderful. Like it looks just like the illustrations from the original book. It's so great. And then she realizes, or is it him that realizes that like, they're emeralds, like anything from Oz has been turned into green. So they go to all the green objects and they go Oz, and it turns into all the different people, and it's so great. And the Gnome King becomes less and less human, and he's becoming more of a rock face, and he's furious. And then he opens up, like he just like the whole mountain falls up. Yeah. The whole mountain falls apart. Jack comes back, which means Bellina's back, and no one knows this. No one is realizing this. And then eventually the whole ceiling falls away, and they're basically in this like nightmare hellscape of under a mountain. And there's lava and all this kind of stuff. God. And then the Gnome King is now just this giant rock, and he's like going to eat them all for some reason.
Oh yeah. He starts with them. He's like,
you love when that Gnome King starts eating?
I love it. And he's like, and he's
and he picks up the gump, I guess, first, and he eats him or something.
Does he eat the gump? Or does he pick up Jack first? Because he doesn't eat any. Does he eat any of them? Oh my God, does he eat the gump?
Does he?
I don't know. All I know is what happens when he picks up Jack.
Yeah, and he picks up Jack, and Jack's upside down. And he's like, oh, and he's hanging over the open throat, and you can see down, it's just this long tunnel down to like red light below. And then Bellina's, you want to do Bellina's sounds?
I don't know she makes
clucks.
it. Big!
And then all of a sudden you hear this. Oh, that's a very nice sound.
Yeah.
And it's the sound of an egg rolling around the pumpkin head, and it falls out of like one of the eyes, and you see the shot of it falling all the way down the rock throat. And he goes, does he say something like,
it's so good.
An egg. And then there are all these other rock shapes There are all these.
It's like Ghost.
It is like Ghost. There are all these other rock shapes that they start going, poison. Because for some reason, in Frank L. Baum's head, the rock god is killed by chicken eggs because chicken eggs are poison.
Toxic.
It's pretty out there.
And
don't understand.
And I didn't pay enough attention, but it is pretty like messed up when he's just like dissolving. He's like, eggs, poison.
Yeah, and
they're all like,
we don't know why, but the eggs are poison and the rocks disintegrate and dissolve, and then somehow they find the ruby slippers are there.
Oh my god!
No, they're not. How do they get back to Oz? Oh no, she has to. Oh, I know. She has to have. She gets the ruby slippers somehow, and then they somehow transport back to like just outside of Oz.
They do, and do they keep like doing everything? Yeah. Oh, there's no. Oh yeah. She because of the ruby slippers. That's right. And they all like land in a field outside of the.
They
Emerald
couldn't.
City
And then they land in a field outside of Emerald City. They're somehow transported there. Ozma's in a cage because what's his nuts has put her in a cage.
What's his nuts?
And the Gnome King, and like. They all somehow, for some reason, get transported. I guess maybe she's got the slippers on already. Maybe she says, transport us to Oz or something. I don't know. For some reason, they get back to Oz instantaneously. And then
But, what? Go ahead.
she was going to restore. She restores Oz, and you see it all being restored and everything. And then they realize TikTok's not there.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh no, TikTok!" And they're all sad. And then they see in the Gump's antlers, there's this one green medal hanging there, and it's TikTok. And they say Oz, and it becomes TikTok again. Everyone's happy. And then they're back in there. The time has passed. They're in the Emerald City. Great music. TikTok is now bright gold. He's been cleaned up. Oz is in full all its glory. Cowardly Lion, a Tin Man. Scarecrow, they're all there, and then Ozma appears. The first time we've seen her not as the little girl, and she appears in the mirror, though, right?
Yeah.
And how does she come out of it there? Just like
she takes her hand,
but she doesn't do anything with the slippers, does she?
I think she does end up wearing them at some point, but she sees her and she's like, "It's you."
Yeah. So Dorothy sees her in the mirror, and she goes to her, and like. Pretty awesome effects, especially for this time. Like they touch hands through the mirror, and the mirror ripples like water, and then she steps out, and she's freed Ozma and his return to rule over Oz, and then Ozma's offers for her to stay, I think, but then decides that she wants to go home, and then I have that as a strong.
I don't know why she'd want to go home.
Strong, never-ending story vibe there. Ozma is a very like that princess.
The childlike empress, who, by the way, is very much a social media presence and kind of looks the same.
Really?
She pretty much looks the same, just a little older.
What do you mean social media presence?
She's on the childlike empresses on Instagram.
What does she do?
She does like Comic-Con sort of stuff, but like she'll have that little thing on once in a while, and you're like, whoa.
Crazy.
Yeah. Good night cream she's wearing. I don't know.
So then Dorothy's back. Everything's cool in Oz now. Dorothy's back home. And then, and this really got me too, then she looks in her mirror in her room again. And there's Ozma with Bellina, because Bellina stays.
Oh, that's right.
Because Bellina decides to stay there for some reason.
Because she's like, I don't want to go be a chicken in Kansas.
That's right. And Dorothy misses Aunt M. Oh, first though, before that, she wakes up on the riverbank, and she's all muddy, and there's been a search party searching for her for days.
Yes.
Or not days, but at least hours.
Yeah.
And then and sweet Uncle Henry, he finds her, and he's like, "Oh my!" And he's like, "Oh, we thought he lost you," and like he hugs her and everything, and it's all good. And then they tell her like the asylum was struck by lightning and burned down, and the doctor died trying to rescue his electrotherapy machine. And they're telling her this as they're on a wagon ride, and like a faster wagon passes them, and it's the constable's wagon, and Jean Marsh is in there looking all mean, and she's
it's like
arrested for some reason.
But did they find out they were doing something like? Because
I mean, they don't really say, but you
feel
kind
like
of
they
get
might have
it.
said something about that. I don't know.
Other prisoners died or something.
Something
Something happened.
But getting back to the mirror part.
Yeah, and so then she's in her room in the farm, and she looks in the mirror, and then Ozma with Belina. And what do you want to say? What?
I just want to know if you made that connection too with the mirror scene, because it reminds me of one of my favorite scenes in Labyrinth when he goes, "But should you need us?"
Oh yeah.
And they and then and
That's
in
right.
Labyrinth, she's looking in the mirror, and her friends are in there, and they're like,
Dance, magic, dance.
"Should you ever need us?" And you're like,
Who says that?
"Is it Toggle?"
Is
Toggle's
it
like,
should you ever need us?
so cute.
Yeah. I didn't think about that, but yes.
Well,
But what's so crazy, and like this is what really got me about the whole Dorothy's crazy thing. It's like the worst one is they see her and she's like, Aunt M, and then Ozma looks at her and she goes, no, and she holds her finger up to her and she goes, shh, and Dorothy goes, oh, and Aunt M's like, what is it, Dorothy? She's like, nothing, and then like she tilts a bit, and you're just like, this poor girl is absolutely insane. Like,
Stop
she's
it.
so crazy.
I don't think so.
I think it, and I know it's such a horrible, like, cynical way to look at it.
Maybe
but like,
Ozma is her, and she's like,
it's her inner strength.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, like if you're just trying to do like,
is true.
if you're doing a literal reading, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so sad.
But it's cool because she did get, and
then
she's better, and that way she's listening to
and then she's listening to the voices in her head.
Ah, shoot.
And then Anne comes up and she's like, go outside and do something. And she runs out, and then she runs outside. It's like that music that and it's so dark and weird. I love it.
It is, but you're like, after you have an experience like that, and you're like, I'm gonna go outside, and you're like, I'm running through a field in Kansas. Soon I'm gonna have to like clean stuff and farm and go to school. I wouldn't have come back.
No, you stay in Oz.
You stay in Oz.
I was thinking about that recently with like, why did I ever leave California?
Yeah, because California is pretty.
I should have stayed in Oz.
Things you never thought you'd say when you were younger
That's
and
true.
didn't want to live in California. I wish I lived in California. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I had too much of that, like, no, I'm an East Coaster thing. But it's like, no, California's beautiful. I don't miss LA. I miss Northern California a great
California
deal.
is like,
Oh, man, I miss it.
I love California.
Let's see.
California.
Any final thoughts on this one? Like, I keep saying she was crazy, and it's like so dark, and I love it.
I
But
know,
it's
but it makes me
what are your
sad.
thoughts?
I mean, I think this is a good example of how I'm choosing not to think about it, because you could, and it's actually very fun to analyze it, and I've enjoyed it a little bit. But at the same time, it like makes me sad to think about. I think because I was such a heavy at my imagination, like the idea that world could have been real. If I had a choice to stay there or like Labyrinth or any of those places, I'm like, that's so cool. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. Emeralds everywhere.
Yeah. What's the movie where there is a movie where they do
Stay? Cocoon.
no, there's some movie where like they do, I feel like they do stay and then they kind of get bored.
Oh.
And then they decide to leave. Like nothing really happens there.
Is it Snow Globe?
You know what's so weird is that some people still. It happened last fall. I was at some like outdoor market thing with Keelan, and Alicia was doing her store. She had a pop up at this place. And I was walking around with Keelan, and like some woman was staring at me. And she walked up. She's like, "Are you Josh Cook?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "You're in Snow Globe?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "Yeah, yeah." I was. She's like, "That is our kickoff holiday movie every year
My.
for like the past decade. We always watch Snow Globe first, and it's like." It's so funny to me that like people know it because it was an ABC family movie, but
They
people
love those movies.
And every once in once in a while,
it's not a Hallmark movie.
ABC Family. It was the 28
Oh,
whatever
so
30
it's-
days of
okay.
Christmas or whatever it is they do.
I always thought it was a Hallmark movie.
No, it's yeah, and it
Cute.
is me, Christina Milian, and all these.
You were good at that.
some great
And the
people,
lady
man.
that's in the movie I love, in the Dream Team.
Yeah, Lorraine Bracco.
She's beautiful.
She is beautiful. She's also the therapist in Sopranos. You know.
Yeah, whatever. The Dream Team.
Whatever. Just the best show, ever. It's all right.
It caught me at a weird time in my life. I actually have never seen The Sopranos.
It's really good.
I know. But The Dream Team is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh my gosh, The Dream Team is insane.
Also,
by the way,
starring
we showed Keelan Beetlejuice.
Michael
the other
Keaton
day.
and Christopher Lloyd. I know. Didn't you already see that?
Nope.
I don't really understand these choices you make. Movies are so important to our family, but so far, the movies that I like the most, you
were busy doing your art
and it's
show.
over now. When did you show it to her? Last week?
Saturday.
The show was Sunday. You couldn't have waited one more week.
She wanted to see it, and it was a perfect timing for us.
Oh, really? You didn't think to say, Keelan, wouldn't you rather wait to watch it with Aunt Jessie?
No.
Right. I've always loved it, but I feel like it gave it this weird, new.
Wait, so are you
quality.
saying that you found out recently that it is a very popular movie? Is that what you're saying?
I found out today. I did.
See, I didn't know. I don't know if it was very popular.
Either I've never
that.
talked to people about it, but no one's ever brought that up to me. And when I've said, "Oh, have you seen Return to Oz?" They're like, "No, what is that?" No one I know. All right, that's not true. I know a lot of people have seen it, but I mean, it's not something that ever comes up, like The Goonies or Harry. Those things do come up, but that one.
Oh, I think it's a
never.
big. There's got to be a cult following of it at least. I
guess
think,
that's all I
so
thought it
great.
was. I mean.
Yeah, I think it must have some kind of cult following at least, but whatever the case is, I love it. I'm so glad I got to watch it again. And, Alicia was kind of about it, and then she watched it, and as soon as it started, she was like, oh, I'm excited to watch this movie again. And I was like, I wanted to be like, see?
What made her excited to watch it?
It's just the music. I think it was like
so
that.
good.
It was that nostalgia of oh my gosh, I forgot how awesome this movie is. And it is dark. It is weird. Keelan was not scared by it, which I wasn't sure because she gets scared by odd things that I can't really predict sometimes. But she seemed fine.
I wanted to watch it with John, but he strenuously objected.
We'll get him.
Strenuously.
We should do a movie thing with him at some point. We have to have him watch something, and then we'll get his take on it. John's hot take.
I do.
Sponsored by Miller Lite. Maybe we can get Miller Lite to sponsor.
I do think he would. I think he'd be interesting to watch The Fugitive with because he can quote that a lot.
By the way, could you imagine if somehow Miller Lite sponsored a segment with John? John's take sponsor.
I think that his life would be made.
He would be.
That's.
There's really nothing left to do.
That's it. There's nothing left that he would want to do.
Nothing left.
Other than
He
yard
is
work. He likes
a
yard
walking advertisement for Miller Lite.
Really is.
So much so. What does he bring with him anytime he's going to any social event?
He brings a cooler with him. He's got these 2 really cheesy lunch boxes, but then I also got him that gigantic Miller Lite cooler.
Yeah.
But he and the best part is we'll be going somewhere and it's like, did they get Miller Lite? I'm like,
yeah.
Did they get Miller Lite for you? I don't know. It's like our friend's aunt's daughter. Well, that's just kind of rude. I'm like, oh my God.
But the point is, he brings with him his own
everywhere.
supply of Miller.
He brings it everywhere he goes.
Cooler. It's amazing. He shows up at a party and you're just like, hey, John, I got you some Miller Lite. He's like, got my own.
You know why? He hates cans. But even better, and I'm sorry, Mom, but it's true. Our mom is John's #1 fan, maybe even more than his own mother, which is hard to imagine. But she thinks about his Miller Lite all the time. She's like, Jessi, tell John I've got a case of Miller Lite. I'm like, another one? She's like, I know. Dad said there's too much in the refrigerator. I'm like, Jesus. So I'm like, stop. He's not a baby. Stop getting him Miller Lite all the time.
Well, I should hope not.
He brings his own.
He does bring his own. He brings his own.
He brings it everywhere.
Do you know what time it is?
Yeah, I do.
You seem sad. You didn't prepare, did you? You don't have any, do you?
I couldn't find my notebook. I've got one. I'll go with mine first, and then you can go.
We do a game. We've sort of done it a few times throughout this episode where we would movies that we have talked about, or the kind of that's in our, I don't know, it's in our kind of
repertoire.
We oftentimes will pull out quotes that seem to fit.
We've done that like 15 times through the
I know
episode,
through this episode.
but
It seems to fit in circumstances, but for this purpose of this, we kind of gamify it, and where we're kind of quizzing each other on if we can tell what movie these quotes are from. A lot of them are from, we know most all these movies unless we're unsure. But some of us are prepared, and some of us aren't.
Can I go first?
Well, I guess you should, since you only got one.
I strenuously object.
Oh, I strenuously object. Oh, you strenuously object? Oh, nuts.
No.
Sorry. I strenuously object. That would have. Few Good Men.
Yeah.
Few Good Men. It's Few Good Men, and it's
God damn you.
What's his name?
Kevin Pollak.
Kevin Pollak.
Yeah.
Oh no. You strenuously.
Move to reconsider. I do that all the time to the kids.
So good, that movie.
Oh my gosh. All right, that was a cheap one, but
That was good though, because I haven't seen the movie in so long, which is sad.
also
I love
because
it.
I just used it.
Okay.
All right, now I gotta think.
Here's an easy. I'll give you maybe a gimme.
You say that, I keep losing this game.
When Mrs. Kissel farts, we beat the dog. Yeah.
Oh.
Are you laughing because you know it? Or because you don't?
I'm laughing because it hurts.
Because
It hurts when I laugh. My leg hurts, but I do know it. I do know it, but I can't please.
when Mrs. Kissel farts, we beat the dog.
Patarazis!
I know it. The problem is, we can come up with these quotations when it's perfect in the moment. But then
I
when you have
know.
to-
Listen, I know. This is why I give the little
Mrs.
spiel
Kissel
about how
farts,
we do it and we always know it. But in a game, it's harder in a
God.
game version. It's harder in a game form. But it's still exciting and thrilling. I often wonder if people are like, what
But-
are any of these quotes?
I don't know. I mean, you say it, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. But it's just
Rainbows and... or something like that. I can't remember what he's singing exactly. It's a priest. Or a minister or something.
my stomach's growling.
Someone has come to see the priest to find out information about someone that he's a marriage that he's going to oversee.
Oh my God! What?
And the woman is Mrs. Kissel has a huge tray of tea. She starts to walk into a fireplace as the priest is rambling on about stuff, and the guy who's the lead of the movie is there, and he's like very concerned about Mrs. Kissel. He's trying to he keeps trying to point her in the direction of where to put the stuff. Eventually, she drops the tea everywhere, and then you hear her fart, and then this big dog gets up and runs out of the room, and the priest goes, "When Mrs. Kissel farts, we beat the dog."
I don't know what it is, but I know what it is. This is so depressing.
Okay, do you have one? We'll move on.
Well,
Do you
I
have
want to
one?
know what it is.
You want to know now? Let me give you another quote from the movie. Let me give you another quote from the movie.
No.
Oh, I'll tell you. And I'm going to quote this. Boom, da da dum, ba da dum, boom, boom, ba da dum, ba da bum, bum.
10?
Yes.
That's from 10?
Yes, he goes he goes to see the priest because he's going to marry Bo Derek to the other guy.
Oh, wow.
And he's trying to get information about where they are on their honeymoon or something like that.
Oh my God.
Or-
So I knew that line through and through.
Mm-hmm.
And even knowing now that it's in 10, I'm like, huh? No. No.
I always love that one. It's so great. Miss Kissel farts, we beat the dog. Yeah.
Patarazis!
There you go. Next. Do you have one? If not, I'll just do two more.
No.
I'll just do two more. I know it's like your favorite part, so it's
my
kind of amazing
favorite
you didn't
part.
prepare. Wow,
I
it's really
know.
terrible.
I was running late, and my mind goes blank. I was like, hold on, wait.
Darn this thing.
Darn this thing!
See, I knew you were getting it immediately.
Darn this stuff!
Is it stuff?
Darn this stuff.
Oh, my mistake.
It's in Edward Scissorhands, right?
Yeah,
the makeup.
I screwed that up.
Darn
Darn this stuff. Where she's like, she's like got the stuff on his face. Darn this stuff. Gosh, Diana. I never know if it's Weist or Weist. I don't know the proper way to pronounce it, but she is so great. Oh man,
this is so frustrating. I might as well just go again.
All right, I'll give you one more.
I have one.
Why am I coughing?
Yeah, I have one.
Then do it.
He hates Mexico.
Is this Goodbye Girl again or something?
He hates Mexico.
That's not ringing any bells.
Good.
Like any bells. He hates Mexico.
You'll need the cadence for that one.
I mean, I'm guessing it's an affair thing where someone runs off within
He hates Mexico.
I mean, it's a very, very dim bell.
It is. I did quote this movie before, but if I say it, it's really a giveaway.
Today you quoted the movie?
No. He hates Mexico. You want me to give you
Is this like Moonstruck or something?
No, it's not. It's not Moonstruck.
Some movie I don't know well.
No. Well, I don't know how well you know this movie, but you should. Do you want a scenario? Like just like the generic kind of character, like who it is?
Okay.
It's a mom.
Give me something else.
Wasn't like that penis breath.
Well, wait. Didn't you say that was from E.T.?
Yeah.
He hates Mexico? What's that? Well, that's the mom?
That's the mom.
What does she say that about?
Well, he said something about the dad. The dad's gone. The dad runs away, and something about Mexico, and I forget what he says. Like the kid says it, and she turns away, and the older brother's like, "Fucking idiot," and she's like, "He hates Mexico." Like leaves. I don't know. I guess he tells her.
This entire explanation helped in no way clarify what the hell you're talking about.
Drew Barrymore, the two brothers are having dinner at the table. They're giving each other a hard time or whatever. And then somehow the dad comes up. He says something about the dad and going to Mexico, and she gets upset.
Oh,
because
they visited him or something.
Nah, something. I don't know, but she gets up from the table.
I
and
don't
she's
know
upset about
E.T. nearly as well as you do, apparently.
Okay, your turn.
Huh. Okay. We'll see about this one.
Okay.
This is a one-word one.
Oh, brother.
And it probably was cadence dependent, but I'm just going to give it to you without first. Eat.
I hear it.
You do? Really?
It's not The Witches of Eastwick, because that would be eat.
No, but I've never seen that movie.
What?
Oh my gosh! Here we go again.
Good.
I
All right, sorry.
know.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What's the cadence?
Eat.
Oh.
Eat. It's
Is it from Battle for Endor?
No. And again, if you could not scream directly into the mic, it's more like eat.
Like they're at a table.
That's better. Eat. Big smile.
God. I mean, they're at a table. Not at a table.
She's not, but there are people at a table. A lot of people at a table.
Oh.
Any other thing from this movie?
Oh.
I will give you a clue that will give it away, just because I so want to say this, but I can't give you a quote because you'll get it instantly. Nearly any other quote from this movie is almost impossible to miss, or not to miss.
Can we give you is she mad or like happy?
Oh, very happy.
Eat.
She's encouraging. That's what she's really encouraging.
It's not like an Addams Family situation, is it?
No.
Like it's gross food?
Nope. The problem is, well.
Do you think now anyone listening is really thinking too? or they're like, well, we're done here.
Well, that's what I always wonder about. I don't know. I think if we do this, I'm sure there are lots of the people out there who do weird things like this too, with the weird esoteric quotes.
Oh, no. For a minute, I thought it was Burbs, but it's not.
No. No.
I love when she gives him the cracker with the sardine on it, and he looks at her, and she goes, she just gives him a look and he eats it.
Sardine.
Okay.
Such great. I want to go home.
No,
Take me home.
That's actually in my phone. I was going to say that.
You did
Take me to the hospital. I'm sick.
You did that before.
Patarasis.
You already did that.
All right, well, fine. I don't think I'm going to get it.
The person saying it, and this is a very cheeky clue, has a pixie cut.
Pixie cut? It's not Jamie Lee Curtis. It's not Winona. That doesn't sound anything like Winona.
It's not Winona.
Is it somebody that I love?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. The only one I can think of right now that's a quote is so obvious.
Ugh, you say that and then I don't get it.
It's obvious. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to use it, but I can't ever use it. So it's the boo box.
Hook.
The hook.
Glenn Close.
The boo box. No. The boo box.
But
It's Julia Roberts. When they're eating, she goes, eat.
oh my God. And the children are screaming. The children are screaming. That part's scary.
It is
man.
scary.
That's a scary scream she delivers.
It is
okay?
a scary scream.
All right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're all, and he's like, "What? Eat, what? There's no food."
Yeah. Are you ready? Are you totally gone? This is my private home.
Oh.
And I've said that to people walking into my classroom.
We already finished this game? Why are you throwing
Because
me another
I didn't
one?
get to go. I get 2 more next time because I had a traumatic week.
Oh, man.
I bet you don't even know what I'm talking about.
I do. I know this. Are you totally gone? This is my private home. Oh, man. That's bugging me. Give me a scenario.
Another quote from the movie or another scenario?
Give me the scenario.
Well, I mean, he shows up at her place.
Totally gone. It's my private home.
All right. There's music playing. She's washing the dishes, and she's home with...
Go.
She's home with her kid, and this guy busts in, and she's like, "Are you totally gone? This is my private home." Because she's urgently needed back at work. I'm going to fill
I
in.
so know this too.
Well, here's a little tidbit. There's a turning point in the movie. It involves a character from Ghostbusters. Did I make it worse?
Well, it sounds like Sigourney then.
No.
I can hear her cadence
Nope.
saying that.
Nope. It's Harold Ramis.
Is Harold Ramis?
Not him saying it, but he's in the movie.
Harold Ramis is in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
He's not in many movies.
I know.
It's not What About Bob, is it? No.
No, but I know why you're saying that.
Because it would be Richard Dreyfuss then.
Yeah, but I know exactly why you're saying that.
Is it Groundhog's Day?
Do you want me to tell you or am I going to give you another quote?
One more.
All right.
Harold Ramis is in it?
Briefly. So one of the reasons he ends up in the movie is because this chick is needed back where she works and she can't go because her son's sick. Her son busts in the room and... All right. It's...
Wait. Is this Jerry Maguire?
But I can also see why you'd say
But he's
that.
not in that, yeah.
It's the timing of it. Actually, there's also an actor in that's in this. Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, wait. Harold Ramis is in As Good as It Gets?
Yeah.
Who is he in that?
Doctor.
Is he a doctor?
He's the doctor.
God, I have completely forgotten.
Wow, I cannot be. I was actually going to say.
I am completely forgotten that Harold
I didn't
Ramis
either.
was in that movie.
I love him.
Completely. That really threw me off way more. And
Doc.
but of course it's Helen. Of course it's Helen Hunt.
I love her so much.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, of course. Are you totally gone? This is my private. Of course.
Wow, I didn't even one of the things if we do you think we'll do that movie? Because I won't bring this up, but one of the things I always
I love that
remember-
movie.
All right, well maybe we will.
I'm also convinced that movie.
Greg Kinnear is so
Not that I
good.
want to add to the rather unfortunate trend of movies being turned into Broadway musicals.
Oh.
Not a fan of that. But that being said, in the world we live in, As Good as It Gets would be an amazing musical, I think.
I don't like musicals, so I don't care.
Well, that's Return to Oz. No, I really that was such a great movie. I love watching that again. It
And
was
you
so
need
awesome.
to watch The Craft with Fairuza Balk because she's
Do I need to watch a movie about teenage witches? No.
it's really messed up.
I don't think I
and
do. You know what else I haven't seen? And this is another one. This is the third one
Fine.
today. You're going to freak out.
We'll trade.
I've never seen all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I know you love that one.
Interesting. First of all,
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
you ruined my new jacket. Kill him a lot. How do you
Kill 'em a lot.
Rutger Hauer? How do you not fit? He wears the brown tie. I could quote that entire movie.
What is Time to Die from?
Time to Die?
Yeah. Time
Oh,
to Die.
Rutger Hauer.
Yes.
Yeah.
In?
Oh, is it not Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No.
Is it that thing where the truck rips that lady in half?
What?
I don't. I have no idea. I don't know Rutger Hauer.
Is that The
though.
Hitcher?
Yeah. Oops. That movie's scary. I don't know. What is it?
You said Rutger Hauer, so I just wanted to whip out some like Rutger Hauer's most famous quote on you, and
Wait.
just show you that you ain't know nothing.
At one point, she sprays hairspray on Rutger Hauer, and he goes, or like something like that. But she lights him.
What
Listen,
is Time to Die from?
I don't know.
And there you have it, folks. Have a wonderful week. Da, 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 da. We're gonna do time to die. Stay birdie doop. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.
Let the river run.
Ah!